お前はどこまで見えている。お前では俺を倒せん。俺はいわば完全なる不死。
Hello. How's everybody doing? I'm doing all right. I tried to oil the mic the mic stand a little bit, and I'm hoping it'll help the squeaking, but I think I need WD-40 to really get in there, and I don't have any right now. So I might ask, actually, you know, I may ask Ivy if she'll grab me some real quick. Because I would really like that squeaking to not be there. And the oil that I used just didn't seem to work. There, we'll ask. Okay, cool. Your body clock pretty much gets up early. I'm definitely a night person. I'm not a morning person at all. I still have to get up early in the morning for work and such, but I just don't enjoy it. And there's, you know, the motivation of getting paid is worth the I'm not grumpy necessarily. It's just you know. And I do a lot of traveling, so then it's kind of like on to my next adventure, you know? Okay, let's see. Got another piece of... Let me see. She said they might. Alright, let's see. Heard Metroid Prime 4 has annoying characters with you throughout all of it. Okay. Maybe. Are we talking about like Navi, or are we talking about like Metroid Other M? The kind of annoying random contrivances, or yeah. Maybe not all the game that is concerned to be. Maybe. Hey, Fighting Max, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing wonderfully. Just seems out of place for Metroid. Other M, Metroid is, in my opinion, Metroid's not as consistent as a lot of people would have you believe. I know a lot of people love Metroid Prime. I'm particularly partial to the 2D ones, specifically like Metroid Fusion and of course Super Metroid. But yeah, we have Other M. We have Corruption, which I think was a little rougher, and then we have Other M, which I think was kind of rough. So it's like, I can see it happening. It's not a bad idea to sort of have other characters. I just hope they're going to be long phases of Salt. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what makes it feel a little, you know. I can't stand the 6 till around the 2 to 3. That's fair. That's very fair. I have a thought. Why do people get into parasocial relationships? A bond between streamer and viewer, no matter the distance and logic, happens nevertheless. I've seen the distinction between fiction and parasocial relationships are weird. I think that because I think it's more so. Obviously, we have more connectivity than we have more connectivity today. Than we've ever had in the past, but I think that the nature of a relationship has changed very drastically because of the introduction of technology. And specifically, I believe that, and I'm just going to hypothesize here for a second, but I believe that the things that I don't know why my headset seems to be doing some weird stuff here, but I believe that some of the things that we find ourselves valuing, are kind of, how do I want to say it? I feel like that people want to feel like that they are. There we go. I think that I think people have simplified the nature of a relationship. Firstly, let's say that. I think that relationships, and this is included of relationship, not parasocial relationships. I think this is even inclusive of dynamic relationships, right? Of romantic relationships, of those types of relationships. Reality gets scarily less and less clear for a lot of people I see, especially for posts on Twitter I see people cover. I've been off Twitter for months, so that aspect I wouldn't know. By the way, I've not played Other M or Hunters or Federation Force. They're fun in their own way, but they definitely have things that you would consider to be not Metroid. Mainly 1, Super Fusion 0, Prime Trilogy, and Dread. Yeah, Super and Fusion are probably my tops. A bit of Metroid too. I'm going to make a new Twitter account a few weeks back, and I just stopped before finishing it. That's perfectly fair. A quote I've seen for people on Twitter is that people treat fictional characters like real people and real people like fictional characters, and they get mad at you for knowing the difference. So yeah, so what I was going to say on that, I didn't want to get too behind on the chat there, but what I believe has happened. It's kind of occurred to me that it started joining these streams around 2020 or so, when the C virus started. Well, at that point, so let me try to finish this point. Otherwise, I'm never gonna get through it, and it's my fault. So I'm sorry. It's been, I think firstly, and it could be a result of the virus, but I think we started kind of doing this way back before the virus came down. I'd say 2015, 2016 is when I kind of started noticing it, where people became what I would consider to be chronically online. And in this chronic online, what we started to do is I think we started to oversimplify what we wanted out of a relationship. And I mean that of any relationship. So I'm not talking about specific, I'm talking about dynamic, I'm talking about two-sided relationships, as much so as I am talking about a parasocial relationship. I'm talking about the things that we did. We started kind of boiling it down to its bare minimum. There's no nuance. There's no subtlety. It's almost always this kind of, we started seeing this dynamic in and I'm going to use these quotes, the alpha male or the sigma male. We started seeing it in the alpha male or the sigma male spaces, where we started kind of boiling down what things like being a man meant, and what things like being involved with, if you relegated yourself down to one of the like 5 Greek letters that they decided had some value in the English language to define the entirety of masculinity. Once we started kind of boiling that down to maybe 3 bullet points, this is what all of masculinity is. You're either one of these or you're not a man at all. Then we started defining all interactivity based upon those very simple bullet points. So it was like, okay, if you're an alpha male, you own women. And if you're a sigma male, you don't need anybody. And if you're what was the other one? I don't remember, but a beta male maybe. Then I can't remember what it was. But anyway, and they kind of started adding Greek letters. And of course, I think nobody really knew what the Greek letters meant in the first place. They were going off of this wolf thing. And so what happened is we started seeing oversimplifications of very complicated topics, both societally and as a whole existential concept, specifically existential in a particular group. And then when we started seeing that, a lot of people that started kind of buying into that began to believe that the nature of identity, self-identity, and how they identified with other people were also simple. And then as that progressed, we started seeing that the biggest thing that people wanted out of it, the thing that kind of rose to the top out of the bullet points, was silent affirmation, right? You had to kind of play you had to play in a way that gave you the silent affirmation. And the problem with that is that when you funnel affirmation, you can have one person who says something that you agree with. That person doesn't have any interest in knowing he has intent or she has intent to be to appeal to. I was going to say to appellate, but that's technically true, but that's usually a legal term. But we're going to say to appeal to large audiences. Large audiences are basically, in their now oversimplified understanding of identity, willing to accept that that affirmation as a full-on relationship, or the satisfaction of what they would consider to be a relationship. And then what happens is, on top of that, you start having proxies and caricatures where there's something that's more, that's maybe deeper, more in a more basal way appellant to them. And so then you start adding things like VTubers, which I believe Fighting Max actually helped me understand what the heck that was. And I think I've taken a look and I've been like, oh, okay, this is a thing. Not really for me, but it's a thing. And you start seeing these proxies of people where there isn't really any genuine interest in doing anything except for growing. And to grow, you have to appeal to people, and to appeal to people, that satisfies their entire understanding, overly simplified understanding of what a relationship is just to be validated. And I think that that's also probably the truth when it comes to normal relationships too. I've seen that in younger normal relationships where it's, well, she's not doing this, and so that's pretty well all she has to do to be a good woman. And it's like, well, no, that's not even, that's a much more complicated circumstantial thing, So it's like, I think that people have just oversimplified everything, and I think that because it's oversimplified, their criteria to satisfy the nature of a relationship for a great majority have become equally simple. And I believe that the people that are on the other side of the microphone as a proxy generally do not care. I do care. I'm not interested in growing. I'm interested in talking about what I want to talk about and what other people want to talk about and being honest, but not a lot of people are like that. Ash, to answer your question, I think we started talking about 2019, 2020. No, 2020, I think. Maybe 2019. No, it had to be 2020. So around the same time. Alpha, beta, full launch mail, post launch. Yeah, it's a Bethesda mail, huh? No idea, man. I can't either. They couldn't tell me, and that's what I've said before too. Is tell me what a mu mail looks like, or a nu mail, right? Those are other Greek letters. Tell me what those are. You can't. Crazy how one flawed study about wolves has shaped an entire internet culture. Oh, absolutely. But again, it's part of that validation piece, right? One of the things that I was talking about yesterday with another brilliant mind, a good friend of mine named Jimmy, is people do, as much as people want to talk, and I'm going to say something, and this is going to sound frustrating, and I want to be very clear, it's not intended to be frustrating, it is just the nature of my mind, so bear with me here. We have a desire to be classified, even if that desire is to be classified as something that other people don't traditionally consider classifiable. I'll give you a case in existence, and I frustrated somebody with this, and I wasn't doing it to be facetious, I was legitimately just kind of pointing out the reality. Somebody was talking about non-binary gender identity. I don't care, right? I don't care. However you want to identify yourself is fine with me. I don't care. But when you say you're non-binary, you automatically become a part of a new binary, right? You become a part of a binary of either those who identify as non-binary or those who do not. Because everything is, regardless of what we want, a binary. Now, I understand that non-binary is talking about not conforming to the binary of traditional gender roles and identities, and I respect that. That's fine if that's how you want to identify, but you can't truly be that particular thing because you become a part of a new binary. And so we have this desire to be classified, and we have this desire to be declassified, and we have all of these different desires, and they just seem to be oversimplifications of base human instinct. And when we're talking about things like parasocial relationships or even identity, not as it pertains to politics, but self-identity, in a lot of cases what we're doing is we're basically falling into the most simplistic understanding of the things that are human, and we're not going any deeper, and we're not investing in any more nuance, and we're not helping or understanding or developing. We're simply trying to buck against something that we believe to be overly simple in another opposite but overly simple way. That's my personal understanding. Now again, that could be inelegant, but that's how I understand it. I'm with Retro on that one, each to their own. Oh, sure. Oh, it's the types who have an habit. Yeah. If you remember the Cat in the Box, Zendaya on the Top 25 showcase, I did that as a V2. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I want to say Fighting, excuse me, I was on the back of the mic, so off-pattern rejection wasn't picking up. I think Fighting Max was the one that kind of described. And nothing against him, not for me, but, Retro talks to this Jimmy fellow more than us. That's it, I'm leaving. Well, I know him in person. And I work with him. So I know him in person and I work with him, so I'm there. Get Jimmy on the mic. No, he's not here. He's a good, 6.5 hours away. I'll say that. That's where but we work together, so video conferencing, right? And we were talking about this on video conference yesterday, so. Speaking of parasocial relationships, the above could actually happen. Someone could identify with somebody on the net so strongly that if they're not paid attention to, well, that happens. There was a movie that was kind of about that, although it kind of also brushed into the topic of AI, and it was called Him, I think, or Her. I can't remember. It was Scarlett Johansson as the voice of an AI, and Joaquin Phoenix, I believe, played the lead male who effectively fell in love with this this AI. And while that talks to the deeper, that talks, I think, to the deeper impacts of artificial intelligence and becoming actual intelligence, I think that also talks about the initial kind of simple checkboxes we need in order for us to, and the kind of slippery slope of that we need to start to satisfy things that we used to have a lot of depth in and a lot of nuance to. I can't remember if I think it was called Her. I was going to say him wouldn't make much sense because it's about the AI. Speaking of Jimmy and speaking of AI, he recommended a book to me that I have coming on. I found a copy for $3, so I have it coming to me. Hopefully it'll be here this Wednesday or Thursday. It'll be coming here about the same time we get our wheelchair for our little dog. Gavin, for whatever reason, he's not super old, but he's older, right? He's 9. For a Chihuahua, that's midlife, maybe a little over midlife, you know. For whatever reason, he started to have some deterioration, IVDD, it looks like, in his back legs. And so we're going to put him in a little wheelchair. And we're trying to get stuff together to get him the surgery he needs. My goodness, it is expensive to operate, to get little back legs on a puppy working. So good Lord. But yeah, just a little insight. Poor little Gavin's, we're going to have to put him in a little puppy wheelchair. But I think it'll give him his mobility back. He's really sad that he can't move around right now. So if we can put him in his little puppy wheelchair, I think that's gonna help a lot, straighten his spine out and such. Sorry, moment of vulnerability on that, to be genuine with you. That's just what's going on. So I find the non-binary thing baffling. Again, I don't have any problem. I think a lot of people do. I don't have a problem with anybody wanting to identify with as anything. My problem comes in what happens usually when people do that. Number one, my experience in a lot of those cases, not all of them, certainly not all of them, but in a lot of those cases, people have a tendency to want to validate themselves. Okay, still squeaks, but not as easily. I think one of the things is a lot of people want to have some sort of objective piece that backs their identity. They want to validate it. And when you say I'm non-binary, that being a form, and this is kind of what my argument was with another friend of mine I've had for a long time ago. I argued this with him years ago, 6 years ago, I think. But we were talking about the ideas, gender identity and all this other stuff. And I said, why, at the end of the day, why are we kind of putting this envelope on? It's just identity. I can tell you I am whatever I think I am. I don't need to substantiate it unless it's something that's going to afford me, unless it's stuff that's going to afford me some sort of a benefit over you. Oh, there's the mouse. It does sound like a little mouse, doesn't it? Hold on. There we are. But anyway, if you say you're non-binary, is there a scientific basis behind non-binary? I mean, maybe there's a psychological basis or history established of people that didn't feel like they fell in either class. Sure. But at the same time, if it's a part of identity, it isn't really necessary for you to prove to me that you are that thing. Because whether or not, it doesn't matter. How you feel and how you want to identify, that's your business. You don't need to try to substantiate it with science. However, if I am, if I'm giving you kickback, then the best thing to do is just to be like, okay, this isn't somebody I want to get involved with. I talked to the person that identified that way. They were incredibly sweet, and I accidentally bothered them with that observation. It wasn't intended to be rude. It was just my observation. And they were incredibly understanding when I explained. I was like, this is just my understanding of things based, I'm a math guy. I like this. And they were very, very sweet. So, nothing against them. It was just one of those things where it's like, it's kind of an interesting thing, They can get super weird. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, well, and that's the thing about it too, is I like the idea here of us having dynamic conversation. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. Ash and I message back and forth with each other throughout the week. Even if I'm not on stream, he'll send me something he thinks I'll think is interesting. We'll talk about a topic. I hope you don't mind. I won't go into specifics because but we'll talk about a topic that's interesting to us. It could be modern games. It could be a specific game. It could be just general thises and that's. Because I don't want it to be a parasocial relation. I don't want to just appeal to you here and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't reach me, you can't talk to me. I want to be able to talk. I wanted to actually garner good conversations and have respects and identify these individuals, as much so as I can over the internet platform. And I don't think that that's something that's great, that got a great emphasis on it these days. I'm somewhat confused myself why Bella Ramsey and that Missy from Young Sheldon are non-binary. However, it doesn't affect me, so whatever. Again, if it's a form of identity, if it's just me saying I identify, I just don't feel like either, that's fine. Just don't try to fight me and substantiate everything in science. There isn't there's a psychological science perhaps behind it, but there's no physical reality in terms of that. So don't fight me. If you feel like it, fine. I don't care. I'm not going to bother you. I hope he's okay. I hope so too. We're going to do as best as we possibly can to take care of him. He's still eating, he's still drinking, he just doesn't like his limited mobility. I think he's a little sad. I think once we put him in the wheelchair, his front legs work real great. So I think his front legs are going to do that, and I think he'll feel better when he gets there. But it's hard, man. It's really hard. That's my little buddy. And I really don't want to lose him because he decides to give up because he's depressed about not being able to walk or whatever. He's going on through he's a smart puppy, but going on through that little mind. Being truly vulnerable is a hard thing to do nowadays. I think a lot of people mistake vulnerability for weakness. And I think that there is a fine line. If you're vulnerable where there's no reason to be vulnerable, you do kind of show weakness because you show where you don't know where to stop. But it's not. I don't think it's a weakness to say that I love our little animal friends and that we're remarkably sad and we're trying to get this fixed and such. But it's I don't think that's a share too far. So we're gonna work on getting him taken care of though. I've already got a wheelchair coming for him. Should be here on Wednesday, and then we're trying to work to raise some money to get the surgery because it's expensive. It's more than we can do, sadly. So we're working to try and see if we can raise some money. I'm trying to take on some extra jobs and responsibilities freelance to get some extra thises and that's to put towards his surgery and such. So we'll get it figured out. We're going to take care of him. Speaking of mouse bite, I have been bitten by. We have pet rats. I have been bitten by one of them. The little mice, my little rats, they have a very strong bite force, and it hurts like crazy. But she didn't mean to. She got scared. She's never bitten me since. She hasn't bitten me since then. She was just scared, and then it startled her when she did. She's like, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that," and I was like, "It's all right." I wasn't mad at her, but it does hurt. Yeah. So I know about binary code 1s and 2s, but is non-binary a part of that as well? Asking is novice. 1s and 0s for binary. 0s usually meaning off or non-active, and then 1s being active or on. In the case of a binary, gender binary, we're talking about we're talking about chromosomal ones, right? So we're talking about XXXY, XX being the I'm going to say the more simple state, not because it's lesser than. I think everybody's going to take that and go, oh, it's more simple. There's a micro, what is it? There's a micro aggression there. There's micro misogyny. There's no misogyny. I don't believe that women are intrinsically less than men. Period. Automatic. That's just that. There's no fact of that. But it's an XX chromosome versus the XY. Right. That's all. I would argue that XX is probably a slightly, it's the same pairing versus the opposite pairing. So I would say that that's probably the case. There are men, there are women, there are trans men, there are trans women. I don't know how you can fall outside of any of those. I mean, again, how you feel may not have a physical reality. I recognize that reality is subjective. Let's be that way about it. I recognize that I've said this before, I've given this analogy before, a monochromously colorblind individual, the sky can never be blue. Even though to everyone else it seems self-evident that it is blue, to a monochromously colorblind person, it will always be gray. So I can understand that. It's just a matter of you can't substantiate that it is also gray for everybody else any more that to someone who is colorblind, I could establish that the sky is absolutely blue. Or to a tetrachromat, somebody who can see additional colors that I can't see, that it's blue because they may see it as a shade of some color I don't understand and don't have a name for. So the real question from Makey or Maki Sprite says, so the question is, are binary people a 1 or a 2? I mean, honestly, 0 is usually, let's say 0 is a default state in that case. I would argue that people that identify as the binary kind of are the simple one, right? The 0. And then the maybe the non-binary are the variation of that is the 1, you know? Bender's 1s and 0s. Oh yeah, when he's speaking binary. Isn't it 1? Isn't it 0 and 1? Yeah. It's okay, Bender. There's no such thing as 2. Oh yeah, because he had the nightmare. I remember that. I consider you a friend. I would find it odd if you told me I can't message you out of the stream. No. That's the thing. I want to be able to develop good relationships. That's why I'm not interested in the numbers and the likes and everything. That's why I don't talk about, when I'm talking about things that I'm excited about, I'm not trying to get you to buy them. I'm trying to talk about a cause that I care about and hope you sympathize with. When we talk here, I want to talk and I want your opinion and I want to offer my opinion. And if we're off stream, you have the Discord, you have messaging apps. If you, heck, I mean, you can send me, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to do it when I can, obviously. But likewise, I consider you a friend as well. It's not parasocial. We talk. I mean, I want it to be that way. I might have even gotten that's okay. That's all right. 0 and 1, I feel dumb. Don't feel dumb. It's okay. It's not a problem. I mean, it's the same basic premise. It's just 0 and 1 instead of 1 and 2. No big deal. I'd like to identify as a billionaire, but my bank account doesn't seem to. There was a going around about that. You'll have to forgive me. I know I'm behind, but I want to make sure I'm addressing all this. And there's even a Laurie Anderson work where the lyric is simply 0 and 1. That is 0 and 1. Identify as the doctor or as Dr. House. I'm a misanthropic jerk who is a walking textbook of medicine and thinks you are all idiots who lie in time all the time. Wait, I cannot identify as that. Not only a walking textbook of medicine, but also of geography, of history. I mean, you have to think of all of the things that he has to know in order to be the diagnostician that he is. It's not just about that. He has to know. He has to have. I mean, diseases that barely even have names that are on their patient 0 case. He seems to have knowledge of, which is interesting. You absolutely can. Yeah, that's true. Women aren't lesser than men. Wait a minute, Retro. You're speaking out of one. Yeah, I don't think they are. I mean, there's no interest. There obviously. I mean, there are examples of differences where there are superiorities and inferiorities. Men are generally going to be bigger boned, are going to have more slow twitch. Well, I guess in case with slow twitch muscles, they're going to be a little bit stronger and bulkier. In terms of utility and in terms of intelligence quotient, there's virtually no major difference. And in terms of nurture, understanding, and sometimes, to be completely honest with you, the paths of logic that we don't have great insight to, women are going to be a little, if not a lot better in figuring those things out relating to people. It's why, generally speaking, a guy might be suited for a blue collar job and a woman might be suited for a doctor of or a man might be suited more for a doctor of physical, right? So a surgeon, physical diagnostician, and women might be more better suited as a doctor of psychology or psychiatry. Both of them are doctors. Both of them have to be remarkably intelligent. There's just this inclination towards things versus people, right? What if it isn't even the sky at all? I mean, that's true too. It could be. The sky is blue or not blue. Fact versus point of view thing. And remember, that's reality. So what I'm saying is that reality is different for every individual. We can't say that there is an objective reality in all things. We can point to things that are pretty obvious overall, but it's very difficult. It's also very difficult to care about. It's also very difficult to get one side to care about the other's opinion on a particular. It's very difficult for people to how do I want to say it? To get them to care about the other person's perspective in a lot of cases, because they always believe that what they see is the better. In a strange play I was in over 10 years ago, there's a bit of jokes about lighting in a play. They talked about lights being on or off and likened it to binary. You can use on and off as a binary, or a way to do a binary signal. You can do that. What if the sky itself is subjective, much less than its color? It could be. I mean, obviously, we do have some differentiation between the definition of atmosphere, stratosphere, etc. I mean, we have brackets in which those fall. So sky would be subjective because you might say that the sky is what is visible to you, and we in science might say that sky is a specific series of sphere. Atmos or stratus or whatever. We might say that that's where the actual sky, quote unquote, falls away. That's also a language thing, the definition of the language, the word sky in the language. What about the types of people who identify as Z, Zer, and God Self? Are they just fake performative? Or they could be. I just refuse to respect that. It's insanity. I think those are the people. I think when you get the Z, Zers and such, I think when you get those types of people, I don't know. I didn't know about God Self. I know about like Wolf Self and other kind of. That's when we start getting into areas where I think people are more interested. So I do think a lot of it is performative. I would argue most of that is performative. I do actually know people that have a legitimate belief that there is something more to them than what can be observed. I know that there are people that believe themselves to be gods, and I know that there are people who believe themselves to be part wolf and part. And I've had conversations with him where I'm like, it's literally that's literally something that is impossible. We are not the genetic material of the Canis species, and it's there. No, I know I have these dreams, and it comes down to subjective experience. So I would argue a lot of it I think is performative, but I do know that there are people that legitimately believe that, and it's one of the things that. But the ones who legitimately believe it also, as the ones at least that I know, haven't been very dogmatic about that you also have, no pun intended by the word dogma, of course, that you have to identify them as that also. They've been pretty much like, this is just what I feel like and how I choose to live my life. And there are some of them that I know that are just fetishists in some cases, and again, that's fine with me. I just don't bring your fetishes out in a place where it's inappropriate, obviously, but if that's how you live your life in an appropriate company and with people who are consenting, your fetishes are your business. I don't need to know about them. I don't think they're all fetishes, but I know some of them that are. So, I mean, what if according to aliens, all these words we've been reading and saying, like sky, are absolute garbage? They would be. I made a comment at one point, in an earlier one, talking about the subjectivity of something that might be considered mostly objective, like mathematics. If we were to have somebody who was tongue-in-cheek a great mathematician and was able to write a book about let's call it the consolidated history of math from arithmetic all the way up to the latest calculus, so the most advanced calculus, not the latest, but the most advanced calculus, and decided to do every equation but omit the number 1 and act as if the number 2 was the singular, and everything basically shifts to the left 1, let's say. I'm using the word one to describe the lack of word one that understands that's how foreign this concept is. And an alien were to come down, everything in civilization that as we know it were burned to cinders, save for that book, and an alien were able to come down, understand that book, and adopt, and otherwise relay our math. That would mean that 2, for them, would actually not mean what it means for us, which is that which is greater than 1, or that which is with 1 more. It would mean what we understand to be as 1, in the same way that 3. So 2 would be a singular, the first singular, and 3 would be the first plural number. So even mathematics could technically be subjective in the way that we understand it, even though around the world we understand 1 to be singular. Write something facetious like that, burn everything to cinders, save for that, the next civilization, 2 is the first singular number, 3 is the first plural number. Even if our fellow people who are our own species view our language as a word salad, so to speak, even the phrase word salad is a word salad itself. How can words come together? How can words come together be a salad? I mean, I think word salad is mostly used to talk about jargon. It's kind of a polite way to say jargon, or to say something that doesn't have, something that is voluminous but not substantive, doesn't have a lot of substance to it. In the same way, you can eat a ton of lettuce and still be incredibly hungry because it's not. I think that's kind of the idea. But maybe I've looked too deeply into the word salad, or to the definitions of the phrase word salad. How about the leader of the KKK being called a grand wizard? What a hilarious dumb. Yeah. Well, I think a lot. So again, I'm not going to defend the KKK or anything. I have no idea why they do that. I truly don't, and I don't care. I don't have any respect for people who believe in hating people for an arbitrary reason. I don't have any problem with people hating people because I believe that if it's a legitimate hatred, I don't like certain people because I can prove that what they have done or are doing is harmful. And I think a hatred of those people is perfectly okay if it motivates you to go against what they did, right? I'm not saying to motivate you to do anything violent or awful, but I think to hate people can motivate you to be less like those people. And I think if that's the motivation that gets you away from being like those people, hate is great. But if you're going to hate people because of something arbitrary like the color of their skin or their gender, then there's no use in entertaining whatever it is you think you are, in my personal opinion, right? But on the other side, going into something that's a little bit similar to that, I have a friend that owns a company, Relevant Partners, Nathan Hassey. Good guy, very, very good guy. I worked with him years and years ago, 10 years ago. Worked with him before he did this. He founded this. It's a great Relevant Tech now, I think is what it's called. And just great guy, really good guy. And the titles they gave people for the fun of it was like Supreme Overlord of IT, which I believe was held by a buddy of mine, Dylan. I believe held that position for a good long while. Sometimes it's just the importance of the title and making people feel important because of what you call them. So yeah. Or as Ash referred to someone as an idiot. We're all more like Dr. House than we think. There's nothing wrong. Dr. House has got his own problems. We all have our own flaws, but I don't disagree with him. I mean, you have a guy that's literally the leader of a clan that believes in hating people just because of the color of their skin, and there's no evidence behind that. I mean, obviously the person is dumb, but yeah. Or as I vaguely said one of Retro Streams, I quoted a writer's famous line, language is a virus. Yeah, that's true. Not saying the KKK were good in any way, but being called a grand wizard as your title is cut. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just saying that the title is cool without, yeah, we get it. You don't have to like the group to think the title's cool. I agree. Gandalf identifies as a grand wizard. Oh wait, that's retro. I don't identify as a grand anything, except for perhaps a grand failure or an eternal student, but I'm okay with that. I refuse to take anyone serious calling themselves a grand wizard. Fun fact, I met Retro and Video during our time in the KKK. I mean, what? We were never in the KKK. You're going to get people asking questions about things that never happened. I have never been a support. In the decades that I have lived and known about the KKK, I have never once uttered anything that even remotely would say that I enjoyed them. I don't know why they did that. I wonder who came up with that ring. That's a good question. I've not done any research on it. It just was never anything that interested me as a whole topic. But I honestly, now that you've asked that, I think that one specific question I am curious as to. So maybe I'll do some looking at that and see what happened. Time travel is hard to fathom with his parasocial relationship with retro. I mean, someone who's really bored probably. Someone who watched too much Harry Potter, probably. Didn't that title come up in like the 60s though? Or maybe even before that. I mean, I can't remember if that title came up pre-anti-segregation, yeah, which would have happened in the 60s. But when desegregation occurred or began to occur. Bender's bored. And happened to be, yeah, probably. Wolf self. Yeah, wolf self. Dragons, I think it's like dragon self, wolf self, cat self, dog self. Basically, those are the, I think they call themselves otherkin, if I remember. And the only reason I know anything about that is I know a couple of people that are that way. And again, I don't, it's kind of the same thing. The ones that I know that are not being performative and that just feel like that's how they live, they're not interested in telling you have to refer to them this way. And some of them are even willing to say, this could be more fetishistic and that's just what it is. And we're keeping it in our, I think the Zelda movie has started filming and 2 stills of the 2 leads have surfaced on the net. But do the 2 actors of Link and Zelda have the main character syndrome you speak of? Fetishes, oh my goodness. I don't know. I didn't know anything about the Zelda movie, honestly. Apart from, I guess, maybe being told about it a long, long time ago. Fetishes are like belly buttons. Everyone has them. Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't have a belly button, but yeah. I do. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have any problem. So long as fetishes are, this is a really tough one to talk about because somebody actually recently, I think 2 weeks ago, had something happen. Firstly and foremostly, fetishes probably don't need to be remarkably public. I'm not saying you should be ashamed of them, but it's just one of those things where it's kind of like any other thing. You don't necessarily have to have everybody else involved, and fetishes are kind of more definitionally niche. So I think just being kind of careful with that. But at the same time, so long as your fetishes don't actually cause harm to people, and I know there are people that have pain fetishes for others, but so long as you're not harming people or using them to do things that are hurtful, harmful, illegal, etc., or you're keeping them in the appropriate, and not or. The first one is a you have to. The next one is and you're keeping them in the appropriate arena. Your business. Yeah, no or on that first one though. Don't hurt people and don't prey on people who are not old enough to make their own decisions. If that is what you would consider to be a fetish, you do need to not. I won't shame you for liking what you like, barring things that are illegal like that. Do you think the French are from another world? No, I don't. Are like yeah. Some are just more open than others. Well, that was very serendipitous, I would argue. I did not mean to send that message after you. That was perfect, though. Or like, everyone has them. Some are just more open than others. Well done for finding that. That was serendipitous. All opinions. I don't necessarily know that. I think a lot of people kind of put a lot of a negative spin on opinions. And they all, everything smells foul. That's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I think people have opinions that other people agree with, and I think that when someone doesn't agree with an opinion, it isn't indicative that it's a bad opinion. It could be indicative that it's an opinion that the world isn't ready for. In some cases, that could be right. Again, talking about some of the philosophers like Schopenhauer, a lot of people even to this day are not ready to admit that sometimes pessimism is a healthy way to look at things, and that sometimes optimism can be an unhealthy way to cope with things. So I think that is, I think that that's something to take into consideration. I think a lot of people have done that. It's like this, and they all smell. No. I don't think that's at all the case. I think that we all have opinions, but I don't agree that they all are bad or not palatable. I don't think that at all. What message? What is video talking? Nothing is over there. Because I'm Bender and I say Bender's great. Deal with it. But are there good? It depends. There are people that do that. There are people that have that kind of a mentality. There's a fun, an interesting correlation to this particular. There are records of mothers who enjoy the smell. Not that they would make a candle of it, but that enjoy the smell of their baby's dirty diapers. It's not a fetish. Now, this is going to sound really weird. It's not a fetish. It's an evolutionary reaction. It doesn't happen all the time. I didn't enjoy when my little girl was little. I did not enjoy the smell of her dirty diapers at all. I changed a fair few of them, and they were terrible, and I didn't want anything to do with them. But it's a health thing, and you got to make sure she's nice and clean. So, but I did not enjoy that at all. But some parents, in fact, quite a few parents do, and the reason that is it's this sign of healthy baby. Right? Now, it's different when you start adding like soy formula and stuff like that where you have to, but like breastfed babies have this kind of thing that the mother's like, okay, this is healthy baby. Does it smell good? Is it pleasant to the majority of people? No, but to them it's this signal of healthy baby. And so I mean, yeah, there are in some instances those, and I guess you could argue that that's the same thing in terms of an opinion. There are some things out there where it's like, oh, this is a negative opinion, but it's negative it's presented as a negative, but it's actually a good thing. Oh, hold on, I've missed some stuff. There we go. I identify as Bender. Wait, Viddy, what happened to identifying as Dr. House? Wait, what are you again? You mean Dr. House or Bender? Wait, what happened? Bender's an insult for a gay man over here? Huh. I didn't know that. Or merely a server. Yeah, he's talking Bender Bending Rodriguez from Futurama, though. Maybe I'm neither Viddy or Toast, but say, Talkie Toaster has another question. Would you like some toast? Always. Always. Yeah, Bender for yeah. I'll ruminate on my existential crisis while munching down on toast. Actually, on my streams and stuff, Gaming Thunder loosely quoted Bender a fair bit, saying, "Bite my shiny middle." That's a good. I like that. That's one of my. I mean, it's one of my favorite quotes. I don't use it myself, but just because. Or actually, it's "Bite my shiny red shell." That's a Zoidberg thing, then. Am I becoming parasocial? I don't know. It's a good question. Are you? Do you believe, the question is, if so, with whom? Do you believe that this relationship that we have here in terms of conversing and talking and debating and all of these different things that we've done over the past about year now, maybe longer than that even, do you believe that it's a one-sided thing? Do you believe that that you are involved with the idea? The reason that I don't put myself out as a person and show myself as the person that I am in most of my cases is because I wanted to make that less of the case. I wanted these things not to be about me. I wanted it to be the room, about us, what we want to talk about, what we feel like is appropriate. And that's why I've kind of said, you know what, let's back off and just kind of put these sprites and these avatars of myself out there. But not in terms of a VTuber. This wizard is a stand-in for me, right? It's not me. It's just kind of the idea of us sitting in the room and being reflective and enjoying new knowledge that we have so far each contributed. So I don't know. It just depends on how you feel about that. I hope not. I hope you feel like that there's something reciprocal here. Refusing to be in the KKK sounds like something someone who was a part of the KKK would do. There's a Grand Wizard on the screen too. I don't know if he's a Grand Wizard. He's just he's a moderate wizard at best. Come on, he's just sitting there reading. I like his. I really liked his kind of like somewhat grumpy expression. He's just kind of like, all right, dude. You know, I kind of in my I envision him. He's got all these books there, but I envision him like just sitting there with this kind of grumpy look on his face, going, I can't read. You know, him just sitting there for 30 minutes trying, but unable to read. I love to read. I have books like crazy. So I kind of thought he was also a nice little proxy for me in that regard. But yeah. Is this what it's like? I think I'm becoming parasocial for that wizard. I think he's neat. He's neat. I mean, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't look up at you. He's just reading his book. Come on. But haven't we all sort of been parasocial for as long as we've had consistent discussion on Retro Room and maybe other channel content creators? I don't think so. I think that might be an accidental conflation, because I don't believe that just because you're having a relationship with somebody online or on the internet, that it's automatically a parasocial relationship. Because again, consider that the room that we're in currently is a room where we are conversing. We're not doing it quite real time. There's a delay. I can't help. I know this is several comments back from where we are now in the comments, but we are actually having dynamic relationships, and there is something reciprocated, right? There's also no motivation other than the motivation of conversation. So I'm not getting paid to do this. I don't make any money doing this. What I promote because I care about it. What I detest because I hate it. What we talk about is what my genuine opinions are, not incentivized or censored by any other sort of external motivator. My desire not to be super raunchy on it is so that I create an open enough forum for people to believe that I'm speaking in a way that they can get involved with a little bit more easily. But I like I said, none of it is the conversations we have. I'm hoping you see as reciprocal. They're not something where you're enamored with just who I am, and then I'm coming out. I'm actually talking to you, Viddy, Fighting Max, Maki Sprites, Ash. I'm talking to you, not to the general body of chat. I'm going to look over his shoulder and read along to his book. I kind of wonder, like I said, I kind of like to think he's like, I can't read, but I also have this, I have the, I don't know if anyone, part of me imagines if we looked at the book, I don't know if anyone got the Elder Scrolls books. They had these 3-volume books, came out with the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and it was the Skyrim library. I'm looking at I only have one of them. There were 3. I have the 3rd volume. They were $35 a piece. I don't think I paid that for this, but $35 a piece. And the 3rd volume was about the arcane. And the reason I got it is they're beautiful. I will find the other 2 because these are beautiful. But there are pages inside of it that aren't even words, that are just the arcane esoteric, like magical symbols and beautiful art and paintings and such. Part of me wonders if maybe it was a little bit more like that, if he's looking at a book that's basically symbols, trying to understand something. Let me flip to... Yeah, I'm on what page am I on? 186, and it's just symbols with like I can't read it. I'm wondering if maybe it's him trying to decode or decipher something like that. I need to get those other 2 books. It's such a beautiful piece. I love the Elder Scrolls. Skyrim is not my favorite at all. Oblivion and Daggerfall and Morrowind, but first, you know. Say, Wizard, I'm your biggest fan. Pay attention to me. No, I want to read. I want to super chat to him. You can, I guess. I don't know how that works or what all that entails, but yeah. The guy who's cast his link is in Bly Manor. I don't know if I've seen that. Say, Wizard, are you connected to Gandalf by any chance? Are you actually Gandalf? He's like, no, I'm wearing blue, not gray or white. I do not have a scent fetish. My nose is actually very, very, very sensitive, so I don't enjoy a lot. I don't enjoy most smells. I have incense in my room here that kind of is just generally kind of smoky, and I enjoy that. It's called Dragon's Blood, but it's just kind of generally smoky, and that helps to block out smells from other parts of the house, which are not necessarily unpleasant. It's just I don't like a wide variety of. I'm very sensitive. I don't have that fetish at all. I very much do not like things that smell bad. Well, there goes my beat old woman. Yeah, don't do that. I'm assuming that this is in response to my don't be violent and don't appreciate. Don't have fetishes that are harmful, right? All messages are open, but there are some more open than others. Wait, when did this turn into a George Orwell novel? Ooh, good reference there, by the way. I debated putting an Orwellian. I debated putting an Orwellian thing in there, more in the line of 1984 than like Animal Farm, but even still. Again, talking about one of the things I talk about all the time, speaking of that, is this people will own nothing and love it or enjoy it or like it. Again, encouraging you, if you are a gamer, if you are a person who enjoys music, if you are a person who enjoys books, if you are a person who enjoys cinema, movies, videos, please buy your stuff physical or from DRM-free platforms. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that back out there. It does seem, we had a conversation about this a day before yesterday, I think, where it was just people are not, they don't see, or maybe it was yesterday, I can't remember exactly. No, it was the day before yesterday. People just don't seem interested in, they just don't seem to care that they're losing ownership of things. And I know this is in line with the 1984 kind of dystopian piece. But if you're a gamer, if you're a music lover, if you're a book lover, any of those, please do buy from DRM-free platforms where you have and retain full ownership of the property. I believe Bandcamp is DRM-free for music. You buy your stuff, you download it, it's yours. As far as books go, I'm not entirely sure the best place to do that. Obviously, physical books are my favorite, but if you're looking for digital, I'm not sure. I'd need to do a little bit more research on that. Most of mine are physical. The $3 one I found is a physical book being shipped to me. And even in Cyberpunk, right? I have the physical copy here, the No Coincidence one that I highly recommend for everybody to read. That is of adult age because it is definitely not for kids. Buy physical media, buy physical, and take a look. If you're a console gamer, take a look on. I recommend this website, doesitplay.com. They do all of the research and tell you how much of the game is actually on the disc. If there's an online download that's potentially going to prohibit you from being able to access it later. Et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, I always tout and recommend GOG.com, who's starting to run into their holiday, their Black Friday, Black Week sales. Currently, they're doing a big Arcane Bethesda and Devolver digital sale, so you can get Prey Deluxe Edition with the soundtrack and all DLC for $8. You can get Oblivion for $5 with all of the DLC. You can get Dishonored 2, and Dishonored Death of the Outsider. I think they're $5.99 each, or you can get all three for $15, I think. Anyway, highly recommend that. Please own your stuff. Be okay owning your stuff. Do not be okay if whatever you get, even if your stuff is convenient, whatever you're getting is convenient. Please do try to jump through that one little hoop to make sure that you'll own it 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, and that you can give it to other people later on if you want. If you want to pass it down, if you want to hand it to friends, you should retain that right when you purchase something. My most recent purchase on GOG was Deus Ex Mankind Divided Complete Edition for $6.74 plus tax, which is awesome. I love Deus Ex. I think Mankind Divided was kind of a little wonky. Human Revolution is amazing. And the original, of course, is too. Anyway, sorry. George Orwell, dystopia, owning things. Now we're going to get back. I guess we truly reveal our fetishes. More will be held for review. I'm a mod. I should know. Fair play. I don't think I would. I don't judge people. The thing about it is, again, if your fetishes aren't harmful or illegal, I keep. I don't have to know them. If you feel inclined to share them, make sure that it's appropriate, right? Like, don't make people uncomfortable by sharing things that, otherwise would be kept private, right? I don't like where the conversation is heading. Loading my revolver. Yeah. No, we don't. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not sharing any of that. My statement is, if you feel compelled to share them in places that are appropriate and with people you trust. That's my thing. I'm not. We don't need to talk about it here. This is probably not the right arena for that. But make sure that they're not harmful. Make sure they're not illegal, and share them with the people you trust in the arenas that it's appropriate. That's it. No shame otherwise. My opinion about the opinion of having an opinion about opinions. It doesn't necessarily. You had an opinion that you developed based upon what was kind of a popular saying. It's insanity is what it is, mental sequel. It appears as live stream chat blah, 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 blah. I couldn't even say it. Causes people like Ash to get a revolver and saying mental, seek help. Also get an MRI. Magnetic resonance imaging. I'm sorry, it's my growing parasocialism for the wizard that's making me say these things. I really like that wizard in his book, right? Dr. House, parasocialism. What does the world come to? Parasocialism? Are you a parasocialist? Oh my goodness. I wanted to find a clever way to liken that with a political stance, but I'm not going to do that. Because then I'd be making a social commentary. I mean, I'd be making a political commentary and for no good, to no avail, for no good reason. Dr. House did treat an obsessive blogger once. I wish I could remember right now what he thought of the patient and indeed people who want to connect online and read these blogs. I think there's no problem. Again, I don't think there's any problem with enjoying things online and conversations online and having relationships online even. I think it's appropriate to understand what you need to have fulfilled in order for it to be an actual relationship, that you need to ensure that it is reciprocal, and that you need to make sure that what you see and seek validation from isn't, you don't seek the entirety of your self-worth from another person, even a reciprocal person. Don't seek the entirety of your self-worth from the opinions of other people. I don't know why, but for a lot of people, there's this compulsion to go out onto the internet and correct everyone. I disagree with you because the evidence says that. Who cares? They live 1,400 miles away from me. If they want to live this way, that's their business. I'm not going to sit there and call them an idiot or whatever. Are they potentially? Sure. Do I have evidence? Possibly. Is it going to do me any good to send it to them? No. Are they going to become better people because of what I told them, even if I can present them with all of the evidence? No. No, because that's the thing. Am I going to feel less than valid if I can't change the mind of some random individual, even if I can prove that they're wrong? No, I don't care. We have to be appropriate about this. I thought Retro was afraid. I didn't know it was a peasant viewer who has to call him the Retro Room to speak to him. You don't. You don't have to call me the Retro Room at all. You can call me whatever you want to. I don't care. Hello, Wizard. Are you the Retro Room? He's like, I don't know. Right now I'm reading. Why does it show? Every time I did that, it shows a clipping. I hope the audio isn't. It shows I'm clipping, but I have a gate on it, so it shouldn't be able to clip. I have a noise gate. I mean, not a gate, a limiter, a hard limiter on it. So please do let me know if it's doing some weird stuff. Would it help if I wrote? Would help if I wrote it correct? That's all right. My favorite content creator, the Richer Room. He used to be called that before the race. I didn't have a racist rant. Is that where the O came from? These old gaming consoles are so retro. We've entered the Rager Room. Whoops. To make sure I can find the racist room. I'm not racist. The Raging Room, the Racist Room is my channel, copyrighted. Dr. House Room. Good Lord. Parasocial Room. Good. Is this gonna? Does it let me do it that way? If I did this, if I clicked here, no. I wish it would. There we go. Would it let me? No, it doesn't let me do that. All right, let's do it this way now. The retro room is the racist room is my favorite place to play to unwind and play some Mario Kart. Okay. I know Retro is a real friend because I've offered to travel to meet him with a picnic, and he always says can't make. That isn't a real friend. That's not true. We've talked about it. If ever. I mean, we obviously are separated by an ocean, but we've talked about, we've talked about in the event that one would visit the other's country, that we would hopefully get to meet and say hi in person. I'd very much love to do that. So that's absolutely something I would very much enjoy doing. The parasocial room is my favorite place to unwind and talk online all the time without getting any sleep. Wait. I mean, all right, fun little double entendre there. There may be the French room, nuke it, the facts versus points of view room. He's talking to us, Wizard. I'm your biggest fan. I've been here since day one. I can't count either. Numbers and letters evade me. This book is blank. I've been staring at it for 462 years. I've got a limiter on there, and it keeps saying it's saying I'm clipping. I hope I'm not actually clipping. So I've been here since before day one. I deserve top membership if I can type correctly. That's all right. I like Animal Farm, but 1984 is my fave Orwell novel. Maybe even novel of all. It's a good novel. It's really, really good. I connect Metal Gear Solid 2's theme a lot. There are definitely some nuances there that like any. There's some little pieces here and there, subplot points that I think are. I had a funny issue with a book delivery lately. For my birthday, I asked for this debut novel from an author who lives in Spain. My dad ordered it, but the cover is in English, but the text is in Spanish. Now, how is that possible? That's weird. That is weird. My daughter asked me the same thing, though. She's like, hey, how come things that are in Japan have a lot of English? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of tourists there. And she was like, well, that's kind of, it just seems kind of weird that you'll have something like, we've played games the same way. It's like, the title of the game is in English, but the rest of it is in Japanese. And okay. Gog, hey, what's that? I've never heard you mention it. Really? No, I mention it all the bleeding time. He's being facetious. That's cool of Retro to recommend something new like GOG. It's cool of Retro to recommend something new like Deus Ex Mankind Divided. The Deus Ex games I really, really like. And I think, again, Cyberpunk is a great game. But I think if you're looking for that kind of cyberpunky, what do we do when AI hits? What do we do when cybernetics hit as a commonplace thing? What might society look like where there'll be kind of traditionalists against augmentation and such? Deus Ex, Human Revolution, and Mankind Divided do a really good job, specifically Human Revolution, do a really good job about tackling these kind of crises with the more common use of cybernetics and things like that. So very, very, very good if you've not played it. Like I said, on GOG, you can, I think, pick both of those up for, I think both of them together are like $10 or $11. I could be wrong, but it's not, I don't think it's more than 15 right now for two of them. People are way too comfortable oversharing on the internet. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. How old is that game again? I forgot. Human Revolution, I think, came out in 2011. Mankind Divided, 2016. I will warn you, if you get Mankind Divided, firstly, they go in order, so Human Revolution is first, then Mankind Divided. Mankind Divided does have a very unsatisfactory ending, because it was supposed to have been another game that followed it that they've just canceled. But in terms of the themes throughout the story, the gameplay, and the world itself, the environment, it's really, really good, in my opinion. But definitely very, very old. I try my best not to overshare on the net. Yeah, that's perfectly fair. I didn't even know his name was Carlton McNugget. Wait, is parasocial based on socialism? No, it isn't. It isn't. Parasocial is something that... Socialism is a whole different thing, right? Then again, we won't get too political here, and if need be, noise gate-wise, audio seems fine over... Okay, good. Yeah, I have a limiter. I have a hard limiter at 3 decibels, negative 3 decibels. So it's showing me that... It's showed me 3 times to have clipped, but I shouldn't actually be able to clip. This microphone is not up very loud, and the digital boost is still under that negative 3 threshold, so I don't understand. Why couldn't you all make it to Australia for when I turned 37? It's okay, though. We all live too far away. Like I said, it's one of those things where I get to talk with you guys, and I get to enjoy conversations back and forth. Viddy, you and I have talked on philosophies and conversations about the nature of reality, fact versus opinion. We watched a movie together via the internet. So the internet's wonderful in regards to helping kind of bridge connections between people who would genuinely be friends if they were in a closer geographical cluster. But at the same time, so I think the internet's good in that regard, but I also think that you have to take into consideration, we've all been talking, several of us have been talking for, at this point, the better part of just over half a decade. And it's crazy how quickly time has passed. But yeah, we've been talking most of us have been talking since about 2020. And we're almost in 2026. In about 6 weeks, we're going to be into 2026, so, or 7 weeks maybe. And Retro is close to where we are. Sorry, and Retro is close to where we are in the chat. The wizard slowed him down a lot. Yeah. I did recently check out the prequel short film Cyberpunk 2069. Amazing action. I have to say, if you, like I said, I took a look at it. I watched it. I have finished it. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, man, it was really good. Warning again, if you are disinterested, there's a lot of nudity in it, and if you're talking, it's for the most part it's non-sexual nudity. But that first episode's got some very blatantly sexual nudity, completely uncensored. So if that's something that that offends you or is just not to your liking, I'd recommend just being very cautious with that first episode. But other than that, the stories and the themes that are in that are actually quite good. Character development's really nice. The music is phenomenal. The music of that series is really good. And in fact, I recommend finding the soundtrack for that thing, because I really like, it's a lot of like, it's kind of a lot of, I would call it like reggae nouveau, which I don't know, I really like it though. Very, very much a Ghost in the Shell vibe, in my opinion. I think Ghost in the Shell goes a little deeper than Edge Runners does, but I mean, Edge Runners was great, so really, really like it. Really, really recommend it. I think it's 10 episodes, so it's not even that ridiculous. we've been talking about how we talk about talking. a lot of nudity. There's a lot of nudity in it. It's weird. It is an animated film or an animated series of episodes, but there's a lot of nudity in it. Most of the nudity is kind of just Netrunners. Something that's kind of established is Netrunners are basically, whenever Netrunners do what they're doing, they plug in, they have this kind of deep dive port in the back of their neck. When they start doing what they're doing and diving in and doing all the cracking, it's kind of, they have opposite of firewalls. They're called ice walls, which I actually really like, because firewall, you can still kind of walk through a firewall without harm, but ice walls, you have to chip away at the layers to crack it, and I kind of really think that's a better term than firewall. I know it just was probably born of wanting to be contrary to what we actually have, but I think ice wall is a much better description of what a firewall is supposed to do, and how getting through a firewall feels in a lot of regards too. So I think that's really. But what was I going to say? Oh, the nudity, the non-sexual nudity is usually just Netrunners, and when Netrunners basically plug in and do their deep dive hacking, what they end up doing is overclocking, basically the same thing that we do with an actual computer. And what is the best thing to do if you overclock? Well, it's to make sure you have appropriate cooling systems, and that can be a massive amount of fans, but in most cases, in my case certainly, I have a liquid cooler. So if I decide to overclock my CPU, I've got a lot of fans that are filtering all of that hot air outwards, and then I also have a liquid cooler mounted on top with major heat sinks, so that the CPU doesn't actually exceed its temperature control. And so the same thing happens basically with a Netrunner, is they're put into a bathtub filled with ice cubes to help maintain their temperature while they overclock their hacking capabilities. And so obviously being in a bathtub naked is kind of that's the natural way to be in a bathtub, right? But the first episode does have what are called BDs. BDs in the Cyberpunk universe are brain dances. Basically, it's like going to a website, but your brain takes you to that website almost real and physical and in virtual reality that is tangibly, it's tangible. I guess that's really where it ends. So you can read that as either being offended or turned on by that sort of thing. I'm neither. Yeah, it's not a matter of that. It's one of those things where if you are someone who just wants to kind of stay on the more wholesome side, I'm giving you a forewarning. It's definitely, they use it in a way that establishes kind of the nature of these characters, as well as kind of establishes what these characters are doing. One of the characters makes BDs, brain dances. The other one sells them illegally. And so it kind of is establishing what a brain dance is, and kind of also the level of depravity that some of these people are, kind of the levels of depravity that some of these people are willing to go through. So. Wait, considering I mentioned the Zelda movie a while ago, I'm surprisingly didn't bring up the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer except for Discord. Yeah, I didn't see the trailer. I've seen the advert for the trailer, but I've not actually seen the trailer. So, but let me, I don't know what to think. I've not even seen the original Mario movie yet, so let me go ahead and switch things over. Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer. I haven't seen the original movie though either. When we last left off, we were uncovering some of the mystery. I don't know what the heck. We found so many different things, and we found on the ship where we can kind of draw these threads together, and that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Yay, we're gonna play Super Mario Galaxy. Wait, this isn't Super Mario. I wouldn't mind playing Super Mario Galaxy. I have it on the Switch as a part of the collection, so I might do that at some point. My next game will be something of a retro game. Again, I thought about doing Witcher. Witcher is considered a retro game as it's going on 11 years, or it's getting very close to retro game. So, these planets are the ones I'm most interested in determining. The Ash Twin Project. Central chamber inside the Ash was physically sealed off by an immensely thick protective shell. And then we have these escape pods. More to explore. I found so we have a lot of these. I think this is kind of where I want to go. There's more to explore in this, so I kind of want to go. That's Fiona. So this is Rumor. And remove, and we'll put in another HUD marker there, and then that'll give us... Last time we got... Last time we went... Oh, hold on, let me see if she got home. She might need some help, so 1 second. Let me see if I can give her some help. Give me 1 minute. Whoops. I always do that. Every time. So it was needed. Every time I think of, put this here. Every time I think of, I got WD-40 and, oh man, now this thing is like it's like a dream. Every time I think of it, I think of King of the Hill, that first episode. What I need is a tap and die and some WD-40. And and now I got WD-40. But anyway, Ivy got home, so I wanted to make sure that I helped in whatever way I could. And then I got the WD-40. And now no squeaking with the mic arm at all. My goodness, WD-40. I had you want to know something incredibly Southern? I had a great grandfather who used WD-40 on his joints, to make his joints more, so that they would move better, and that actually worked. It does also slowly poison you, but apparently it actually worked. Is that a beep, like an alarm beep? I don't know. Maybe I didn't think so. Maybe there is. I've made my new channel. I have it ready. Game development is something I'm interested in as well. Oh, I'd be super excited to see, or to work with you on some game development, or to see what you develop, even independent of me. I think that'd be awesome. Haven't shared it with any friends yet, as I don't have a video. That's all right. That's all right. The wizard speaks. Well, I appreciate you feel that way about me, Ash. A dream. Wait, has this been a dream? Am I awake yet? Helping my wife just because she's a woman. No, it wasn't me helping her because she was a woman. I just want to make sure she sounded like she was carrying a bunch of heavy stuff in. I want to make sure if she had her hands full, I was helping her. I've been dreaming of this parasocial connection that has gone on for 5-ish years, it seems. This the retro room one. Oh yeah, I need a WD-40. My goodness, it moves like a dream now. And there's no squeaking. Oh man, yeah, like that's so much nicer. All right, let's try. Hold on. I did mark it on the map. Can't hear it very well though. 1 second. That's a little better. I need to... I don't remember how autopilot works. What is this friggin' screen? What is this frickin' screenshot? What is this frickin' screenshot? Wizard, wait, hold on. Who's this guy talking about the Retro Room Wizard's wife? Does this chat exist? None of this is room. Is this real? Are you real? And what is this frickin' screenshot? Good lord, I can't even say it. Ooh, I think I'm awake now. I like that you say it that way. Ooh, snorted the good coke. Okay, let's see if we can come in. Let's get lined up. I didn't mean to hit that hard. Okay, let's see if we can find what we need to find. Let's go ahead and suit up. To be fair, you did, hold on. You did sort of say before coming back to the game about what happened during the BRB sort of being, oh, well, yeah, fair play. Fair play. Okay, I'm in my suit. I made a mistake with the landing gear, so let's go and repair. It wasn't a huge mistake, but the landing gear and the landing camera. Headlights. There we go. Okay, and the escape pod is... We did alright in terms of getting kind of close to the escape pod, it looks like. As it seems only to be... There's more to discover here, it said, and most of it's not buried this time. Last time it started to kind of get buried really quickly because of the Ash Twin. So if I can... This was the cave we found ourselves in. Where all the female aliens live. No. No, it's... Uh-oh. No, it's entirely exploratory, this. So we have some stuff there. Alright, let's take a peek. Let me see if I can hurry here. I want to take a look. You had a strange dream last night, and that's all you'll say about it? Or was it a strange dream that was... I mean, you said that's all you'll say about it. I don't want to pressure you to saying anything else. I'm curious as to what makes you so, what made it interesting for you to mention, but not something you believe is okay to... You're like, oh no, I can't talk about it. No pressure, you don't have to, of course, but... Alright, so... We've taken a look in here before, I think. And it says there's more to discover in here, but I don't know from where. We know that that is the collision imminent, preparing for impact signal, right? The heat from the star system's sun is more bearable below the surface. Okay, that would make sense. Wait a minute. When our escape pod pictured this planet's surface, it broke into into what scans show as a cave system with much cooler air. I would recommend we seek a site down there to build a long-term shelter. Anona, but these passages are amazing. So, yeah. Anona says, even with this danger, they are still our best chance for survival. We'll form teams and descend into the caves and look for a shelter site. We can mark our findings on the walls to avoid becoming irreversibly lost. Be cautious, everyone. And be aware of the sand as you search. It appears to be rising gradually. Which is true. Okay, ship's log's updated, so I'm assuming that's the case. Maybe... Emergency escape hatch. I think we've already read all of this. Yes. I'm just double checking. Says nothing of interest at the end, but I want to check. Okay, nothing of interest. There was a cave over here, I think, that we found that was potentially of interest. Let's see if we can... Do you remember... Let's see, hold on. An imminent collision. Samus's ship. Where is Plato? Yeah, that's a... Hey, good reference. Good reference. Retro, do you remember the dream you had where you woke up next to me in your bed? Sorry I broke your window. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that. It was a wonky experience there. Hold on. It's one of those anglers. And there's writing down there. I can't get to it, though. We'll see if I can find it before the sand rises. Because the sand is nowhere near as high as it was prior. The path to the shelter site is somewhat convoluted, so follow the instructions ahead closely. Okay. To reach the shelter site, walk forward until you meet the sandfall in the pit, then turn left. Okay. Continue to the room filled with rock column formations. Climb upward through the opening above them. The sand here is rising, so you must be cautious but swift. Okay. So we keep going here to the sandfall. Turn left. Turn left. It said turn left. I don't see where... Okay, not a pleasant sound, by the way. At least not in my ears. Okay, this was the boost. Okay, it says up. And then... I don't know if I did this... I don't think I did this correctly. So now we see the sand is rising. Okay, I better get back to my ship or otherwise I'm going to run out of oxygen. Okay. Oh! Okay. Oxygen's refilled. Refuel the jetpack. We'll go ahead and return this real quick. We'll take a look at the... Do you remember the 21st night of September? Earth, Wind, and Fire. You've still not found the cave from Plato's book, it seems. It reminds me of an amazing picture. That is the line. Hi, Daywee. Hope you're doing well. We took a look at the second escape pod. Oops. And we went and did some of the cave, discovering some of the... So we have the quantum shard, quantum signals. Okay. We did more discovering of the second escape pod, and we now know that there is the fossil. And, yep, it was only big enough for the scout. Okay, so let's go back and do some investigating on the other ones. We have some no, look, that's your sister. Yeah, we did some discovering there, but the caves are kind of getting more and more filled there, so I'm sitting there going, okay, let's do... I haven't landed on the sun. Should I go ahead and land on the sun? I mean, it's going to blow up anyway. Welcome in, copyright infringement. We did our, we did about an hour of... I'm going to land on the sun just because you said, has he landed on the sun yet? You know what? I'm going to land on the sun. Hello. Alright. It'll probably kill me though, but I'm gonna try it. I find out the sun is just an illusion. The sun sounds a bit too... Yeah, it's pretty warm. That's okay though, because the ash planet was already... Excuse me, the ash planet was already filling up the other twin. So, the Ember twin. The game takes a disclaimer of don't stare into the sun to a whole new level. Yeah, I mean, it killed me. Alright, I'm awake. Just travel at night, you idiots. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. No worry. You just go at night. There's no sun at night, right? I actually think staring here at the sun here is fine. It's just a big lamp. I think the fun fact is the sun, we always interpret the sun to be orange or yellow, but apparently, in fact, the sun is more of a color of turquoise. Let's go back to this eye signal locator. It says there's more to find there, so let's go ahead and go back to that. Okay. I'm not the greatest pilot, just be very clear. Oh, gosh dang it, I always do that. Here, just land inside the bleeding... No, you know what? I can't. Let's get out of the ring. There we go. I have a tendency to want to move before I unbuckle. Teal. Hey, Visa. Oh, teal. All right, yeah. I'd always heard turquoise, teal, yeah. Staring to the sun with zero... I landed on... Bad lip reading. I would say I landed on the bleeding thing. I took it to another level. So we have Brittle Hollow, which we've still done a lot of investigating on. And then we've done Hollow's Lantern, which I don't know what in the blazes that is. Giant Steep, which we've tried to go to. And then Dark Bramble we've tried to go to also. I don't know why it's not filled that in. We have tried and been there. And then there is White Hole. Well, that seems mildly offensive. Okay. And then the Quantum Moon. Okay. let's go ahead. Let's just go down here for a second and see. It said there was more to discover here. So let's see what else there might be to discover. So this is a tracker for... That's Giant's Deep. What if I moved this here? You would tell me... So this is just a planetary tracker. So... Giant's Deep, Brittle Hollow, most likely, yeah? The sun, perhaps? Okay, the sun does me no good. What if I put you here? Okay, so that's the thing that it doesn't seem able to find. We know it can tell me where all of these other things are, but it doesn't seem able to find that. So I would need to figure out... trees here. Doesn't seem able to find it. We have this as kind of a sign. We've already read all of this. The sun, Giant's Deep, and Brittle Hollow, as we said. The device rotates. Let's see. I ask the locator to follow the eye's signal, and it rotates wildly. You're not the greatest pilot of... yeah. Thus began Retro Room, the series. I'd watch it. It's gonna be serialized. Everything's gonna end up with a cliffhanger, but it never goes anywhere. That's the nature of the Retro Room series. We have oxygen here, so we have this. Thought it was the Wizard Room. Now that's a good series. I think it's actually the Gaslight Room. No, it's never been that. Alright, let me see something here. Let me pick up the scroll. I know I can do it here. But I don't think I did it here. No, I have to pull the scroll from that one. Okay. So wait a minute. Put a scroll there, and this is where I get this one. We already did all of this too. Ember Twin built a quantum moon locator, but the heat of the sun made its construction challenging. I wouldn't recommend building on that planet. And then that's when we find out that they ended up building on Brittle Hollow, which we've been to. And it says there's something around the equator that I've not been able to find, or at least as far as I can tell, I haven't. Our sun is so big and so concentrated to a small dot in the sky, while on outer wilds it's more spread out. So staring at it's like staring at fire. True. And we can actually see things like sunspots and different varying arcs that are coming off of it before. I mean, obviously, it shows symbols of being a dying... It shows signs of being a dying sun that we don't actually currently see a ton of on our sun yet. Yet being the operative word. A few billion years and it'll do the same thing. We'll end up with a supernova, and then a new universe or a new galaxy will form from that, so the sun is definitely from another galaxy or whatever, in contrast to our actual sun a few planets away from Earth. And it's going to be a medical drama series. That's what it's going to be. I can't do this. Okay. I got to be very careful on this, using the jetpack and low gravity. I have accidentally several times thrust myself outside of the gravitational pull of the planetoid I'm on, and then all of a sudden, I'll end up in trouble. All right, let's go ahead and refill the jetpack. Return the suit. Let me go back. I want to go back to the equator. Hold on. I want to go back to the equator of Brittle Hollow, but the equator always ends up... Hold on. I'm curious. So this becomes more obfuscated as this becomes more... It's physically sealed off, so there's not much more to see there. But it says there was more to discover elsewhere. So Whitehall Station on the other side of Brittle Hollow's Black Hole. Several Nomai returned to the station to investigate an equipment reading that appeared to violate casualty. No. Yeah. On the other side of the... Okay. The experiments at the High Energy Lab were based off extraordinary findings from the Whitehall Station. Okay. Let me... I've been inside of the black hole, and it's done nothing for me. So let's try this again. The device is fixed on the plane of the planets in the system. Joke's on you. The eye is above you, but the device can't look up. Big brain. I solved the game. 100% GG's. You know what? See, what I think is really interesting is there are all of these other planetary clusters here. Slow down. Okay, let's take a peek at this real quick. We've been in here again. I'm pretty darn sure I don't need the suit, but I want to take a look one more time. What? Well, ow. Here, let's get back in for protection. Alright, just for protection. Oh, man. I need first aid. Is it going to throw me back up one more time? There we go. I think something was broken out here. Did I break? No, headlights good. I guess the ship was okay. I guess it just hurt me. There we go. I think I've just randomly read somewhere at this moment, Vine is coming back, now that I care about the platform. That's interesting. Community fan project or official? That's it, yeah. Ash Twin empties of sand as Ember fills up. It's based on when in the time loop you get there. Probably official. It's called Revine, apparently. That's interesting, too. Don't fly too close to the sinister evil hole. I learned that the hard way with my... Wow. Yeah, I guess that would probably be a lesson learned, I think. Turn on my flashlight. So that might be something worth checking. I think I've looked at almost all of this. I just want to take a peek at something real quick. And I know we've read this. That was where we found the pun. But wasn't there a scroll around here that we found? Maybe not. I think what I'm going to try to do is go to the Ash Twin once it's a little more emptied to do a little bit more of the investigating. Oh, here we go. This is what we found. And I was trying to figure out what these indicated. Like, we can see this is lit up, but I don't understand what they indicate. Take that again. And I know we've already checked this also, so I'm just... So I don't know what this... I don't know what this other thing is indicating in terms of... When we put it in here... And it projects to us, I don't know what it's indicating. I was trying to think of if it's the... Like, if we're talking about the planets that we've explored, what we need to explore... You know, if one is brittle, hollow, and one, you know, but I don't know which one is which. So, okay. Alright, fine. Wasn't on purpose. Let me try, I'm going to try to go to the Ash Twin and see if it's emptied off enough that I can actually do some investigating. There we are. We're fine. We'll go ahead and take the suit. And I think that's where we kind of had landed last time, and I forgot to put my frickin'... I forgot to put my freaking suit on before I got out. So I said it was going to happen, and then Chekhov's gun. It sure did. Okay, not the Addle Rock. I need... Where's every other planet? Oh, there they are. The Ember Twin. No, no, no. I want the Ash Twin. So let's... I need you to go ahead and make a... I need you to make a revolution. I mean, a rotation. There we go. We'll go ahead and autopilot. Are called the Hourglass Twins. Oh. Oh. I forgot. The autopilot does a straight line, whether or not... Whether or not there's something dangerous in the way. I just think bringing back Vine is equivalent to bringing back Dig. Who would use it in the user base? Has already moved on to Reddit. TikTok is the new Vine. And the genie can't go back inside. Brain rot is a sin. When people say brain rot, what does that mean? You gotta bear in mind, I don't come from an era that... Like, I know a lot of people are growing up with these applications. I didn't grow up with these applications. I was an adult when these applications... I was an adult when the smartphone was... Before, well, I mean, before we even launched the smartphone. So, I mean, what the heck? So, I don't know what half of these things are. Dig, that I do not know of. Typical internet reaction to me. No, mine too. If we don't die, then Jesus died for nothing. Well, I've got church later. I'll let the priest know. We fly under the radar. I mean, the sun. We do not get... it did not mean that. I know. I fancy myself, Daedalus, but I find myself Icarus, right? Isn't that kind of the nature of that, of things? We always fancy, wait, what is this? That's the Addle Rock, isn't it? We fancy, wait, what, is it the Addle Rock? Will you tell me? I can't, what is it? What is this? There's an atmosphere, so it's not the Addle Rock. What is this? It's very hard to land on, whatever the heck it is. Is that the planet I just took off from? Where the heck did it go? No, that's the planet I took off from. I don't understand what I just did. Did I just go through the atmosphere without actually making contact with the planet? Nope, not what I wanted. This is the same planet. Let's try this again. Is it just a gas body? What the heck is going on? What is that? Is that the white hole? That sounds terrible to say. God, I gotta remember that's not forward, that's up. Alright, I'm gonna go into it one more time. And then, yeah. Yeah, something about that's wonky. Hold on. That's a frickin'... we said fly under the radar, I mean sun. Yeah. Brain rot refers to content on the internet that's most likely of poor quality and potentially contributes to poor attention span or just poorly done stuff. Brain rot is basically just... then again, my summary was very loose. Yeah, I think the crucial piece is the fact that there's no setup to any punchline. It's in-joke humor at large scale. Sorry for the previous message getting cut off, by the way. It's all right. Low or addictive quality content that preoccupies someone to the point it is said to affect mental functioning. Both the state of preoccupation resulting in mental degradation are known as brain rot. Huh. In-joke humor at large scale is an interesting way of putting it, but yes, it's like comedy these days. I mean, like setup and punchline, whoops, there's a canned laughter track to tell us to laugh. Very basically just anyways, right? That's the disappearing moon of Brittle Hollow, inscriptions, man. But you can't land on it. Huh. So the disappearing, so that's the quantum moon. So okay, so hold on. So quantum moon. You have to forget. So as far as I guess brain, I don't do short form content. I'm not a fan. I tried to make some of my own, and even still, it was like a minute. And I was having trouble squeezing everything into it. It's like, you know what? Because I wanted the fun stuff, and there's like even still, it's coming up more than a minute. Like, I read books. I like long form stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want the attention span of a goldfish. But anyway, which way? It doesn't mean I don't jump from topic to topic. It just my attentions are equally in all directions, but I can consolidate and make concise. So any which way, to jump from that to this to make sure that I have that. If it's a quantum moon, then does it occupy the quantum superposition, where you have to define something by what you can prove that it isn't, but you can't prove what it is? That's what I'm curious as to, because quantum superposition is basically something that is defined by the things that you can show that it isn't, but it cannot be itself defined by that which it is, because it isn't those things. And you have basically an infinite number of things that you have to be able to prove in order to prove what it is, whereas in order to prove what it isn't, you only have to prove one thing, but it cannot prove what it is by extension. Interesting. All right. So there's Giant's Deep. You know, we're not in any gravitational pull. Let's take a minute. So we've now been to the quantum moon. But we can't actually be on the moon. Hollow's Lantern. Part of Brittle Hollow. Brittle Hollow's the South Pole. There's a door on the surface, but it's broken. It's uniquely shaped like a Nomai ruin on the surface. Strange rock shard that wanders when no one is watching. The Nomai determined this shard is the reason objects in the grove behave in a quantum manner. The Nomai hypothesized that this shard is actually a piece of the quantum moon. The shard emits the same signal as the quantum moon. So anytime we're not looking at the quantum moon is no longer where it was prior. Interesting. We've landed on Dark Bramble. We don't know. It's a quantum signal coming from somewhere on Giant's Deep. And then when we were on Dark Bramble for a while, we ended up getting eaten by one of those anglers. I want to go back real... I know I keep wanting to do this, but I want to go back to... No, not that. That's... I'm going to wager that that's... the moon again. So let's do... Not Dark Bramble. Hollow's Lantern. This takes us, as we would call, as the crow flies. So we're going to try and be careful and not hit Timber's Hearth as we are going that direction. That's, you know, I saw the Big Bang Theory episode in a restaurant where it came back from commercial break and immediately the laugh track played. Probably trying to condition you to, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Stop! I was trying to abort the autopilot, but I didn't hit the right buttons. That's on me, though. That's not the game's fault. That's on me. Let me put this on quickly before the hull's integrity is so compromised that I don't have any oxygen. There we are. Well, that was lucky. We good everywhere else? Headlights, landing gear. Okay, good. This will be alright. Good that we checked the hull fidelity. Go ahead and refuel the little bit we used. Buckle this up. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, now, that is Hollow's Lantern. That's just not where I wanted on to land on Hollow's Lantern. I need to land kind of close to where this... Okay, we're not in a position to... Try to land on this little outcropping here. Not a bad landing. Are we solidly on the ground? Look to be. Okay. Most of this game is knowledge about its mechanics, so it's probably too much for me to explain why it disappears. As someone with a STEM background, I'll only say the reason is fairly unrealistic. I did not press the right button. Yeah, that's true. Well, the reason I'm asking about it is because in general, obviously, quantum mechanics are their own field of study. But in a lot of cases, when people talk about quantum, what they're referring to, at least in my understanding, is the quantum superposition, right? Which is kind of the Schrodinger's cat thing. We start getting more and more data, but the more data that we have, it still doesn't fix the solution. It doesn't offer us a permanent solution for it. So if we say, for example, the idea of Schrodinger's cat is there's a box and we know there's a cat in the box. Is the cat alive or dead? And then we go to the box and we find out that it is in the it's dead. It's the binary of dead versus live. Right? Now we end up with a new question. There's a bottle of poison inside. Is the poison what killed the cat, right? So it's basically, as we kind of walk into solving the solution, we're starting to eliminate the things we know it isn't. But, so for example, in the case of finding the cat dead, we know for a fact it is not alive, but we still do not yet know the cause of death. So I'm wondering if that's kind of, when we talk about these kind of quantum solutions, these quantum mechanics, I'm wondering if that's what they're referring to, is that superposition of what is strictly based upon what could not be. And that's way oversimplified for quantum mechanics, so bear with me there. Okay, so we have a stone needs to go here. I'm just kind of exploring for a minute. I believe this is whereabout I had lost my oxygen. I stupidly got out of the ship without... There we are. Interesting. If I remove that... So is this showing me what was, then? Seems to be, but if I fly out of the space, I lose the... I'm out of the projection, right? Right. I need to be very careful, by the way. Having watched the VODs, I'm really impressed with how well you land, by the way. I appreciate you for being gracious on that. I feel like I should be able to do a lot better than I'm currently capable of, but I very much appreciate... I try. I try very hard. Let me pause to make sure. It's pretty accurate. The moon specifically has its own weird mechanic at play. Well, and I remember it with the if it works the same way as the quantum shard moves anytime you're not looking at it, right? So any time that you fail... Interesting. That doesn't exist anymore when that's there. But if I walk up to it after this, I can... Interesting. This might give me more information, so let's take that stone and bring it down here. I was going to say, I think I know, if the moon uses the same thing as the quantum shard was a fairly simple mechanic, which was essentially... was a fairly simple mechanic, and the simple mechanic was that if you turned away from... It's kind of the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, right? You turn away from it, and all of a sudden it has the ability to move while you're looking at it because you quantify what it is. It no longer cannot be any other thing. Or it no longer can be any other thing than what it's observed to be, right? And so you no longer have this exclusion. When you look at something, again, going back to the quantum mechanic, the quantum superposition, when you look at something, it must be what you observe it to be as it is. But when you look away from it, it can be anything but what you see it cannot be, right? So, for example, if I look away from it and it's not in front of me, then I know that the thing it isn't is in front of me, but then it can be anywhere else, right? Because the only thing that I can exclude is that it is not a part of what I see in front of me. And so the idea is that because I am looking at a place that I know it cannot be, that is the only exclusionary thing that I have in order to rule what it can be. It's a very, very wonky system, but anyway. That's the disappearing moon, the brittle... Okay, sorry. I got in the wrong one. It's pretty accurate. The moon... Okay, so... Did you know the trivia of Schrodinger's cat being the thought experiment was initially made as a joke to ridicule the theory of superposition, and now is the most common example? It's what's funny about it, though, is it's a great example as we look at a superposition, because it's effectively... It's like an onion, right? Every single layer is an exclusory layer. It's not an inclusory layer, but we can, as we get closer to the core, define what it is by understanding what we've discarded as it cannot be. So even if it's something that people kind of see as ridiculous, it's actually not a bad example. Now, is it the best example? No, the best example I've seen is an example with bilateral particle acceleration, I think it is. But it's not a bad example. Hey, Thumbros, hope you're doing well. Run and plan, very nice. I do get Schrodinger's cat mixed up with philosophical concepts, plus House does vaguely mention faulty syllogisms. Yeah, that's probably fair. There's a lot of pseudo-speak and a lot of that. I'm at the shuttle. I'm ready to make my first pilgrimage to the quantum moon. That's exciting. You're almost ready, but there's still one more rule you need to learn. Come see me at the Tower of Quantum Knowledge, a new place. Okay. The tower is on the opposite side of Brittle Hollow. If you follow the path west to the crossroads, you can reach the tower from there. So it's on the other side of Brittle Hollow. This is not Brittle Hollow. My gratitude for the direction, Bells. I'll see you soon. Path west to the crossroads of Brittle Hollow. You can reach the tower from there. Problem is, much like in the time loop, Brittle Hollow is on a time crunch, because effectively it can be destroyed. But yeah, so that's kind of my understanding. Again, these are oversimplifications of very complicated topics, but in a lot of cases, the quantum shard... it won't do anything if I do that. The quantum shard basically doesn't exist in any other space except for the one that you observe it to exist in exclusively. Okay, so that used to go somewhere. Here, let me just... Thank you. Interesting. I have to be there. I'm probably going to kill myself, but I need to try. As I get closer to the black hole, gravity's pull is going to be immense. So I need to be very, very careful because my jetpack's not going to be able to save me if I get too close. Okay. Southern Observatory. The music, the piano staccatos here remind me very much. So that used to be where to travel. What if I switch it? It sends me back. I have to say, this game is absolutely fascinating to me. I'm a retro gamer for the most part, but I am really, really enjoying the... Let's just put that down there. I'm really, really enjoying the openness of the puzzle, of the nature of the puzzle here. I want to know really quickly, and this is probably a poor idea. I'm probably going to go too far away from my ship and die of oxygen deprivation, but it'd be... Hey, Bogus, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And we just lost something important there. As long as my ship remains somewhat intact. Alright, here we go. These things seem to be strong enough to resist the pull of gravity. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's applicable to a black hole, but that seems to be. Oh, this could be problematic. Yeah, you can see how instantaneously I start dropping when the when I was outside of the gravity tunnel there. It's because that black hole, that gravity is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Interesting. And if I don't stay far enough ahead of it, I run a heavy risk of exposing myself to, and I've used this word before, spaghettification, right? Okay, everything seems to be funneling in that direction. Nope. Let's try that again. Gravity shouldn't be that intense. It's only 1.1. So I'm only 0.1 more than... Okay. This is going to be interesting. There. I was almost caught by the gravity of the black hole instead. That was... I'm very, very close to the black hole also. You can see this. Why would this take me here? Oh, I liked this part. Hey, Miss Maggie, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing very well. I won't be around much today because I'm away from home, but I just wanted to show up and say hi at least. Oh, it's all right. Again, there's never. It's always great to get to say hi and get to see you. So no worries. I hope you're having a great time. If you're out and about and away from home for a trip, I hope you're enjoying yourself very much. I hope it's all I hope it's all good. You're having a good time. Did my message send twice? I'm not sure. I didn't see. Oh, yeah, it said, oh, maybe so. Woody, why are you outing me like now I will post on 4chan now. The gang's all here. One of my parasocial friends says, or quotes, "It's the gang, it's the girls." Oh, it's a quote that I don't necessarily know that much about, and it's something that my friend and I tend to quote. After all, gang and girls, we used to refer to everyone, I guess. He's joke. I like that. Fair enough, I may have not caught up on that. No worries, no worries. We all have our colloquialisms, haven't we? Okay, so here's the problem. I'm too close to the black hole at this point. If I go to try and hit that, which I would have to be on that side of the planet in order for it to work, I end up in the black hole. The black hole just spits me out into space. This is going to kill me. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, I suppose. other side, the white hole. And we see space-time warping around it. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Just a little banged up. It's alright. In space, there's no need to know which way is up, only which way we go. Okay, that's a solid surface. This may be the emptied remnants of the ash twin, perhaps? All right. Trees detected. Where? It seems to put me back into the void of space. No, it doesn't. Ah. Down then, please. Artificial gravity. And whatever this is. I don't know what this is. Let's read. Welcome to... Ah, it is! Welcome to the White Hole Station. If you fell through the black hole by accident, don't worry. You aren't the first. This warp tower can return you to Brittle Hollow. I didn't fall through on accident. It was on purpose. Every warp tower is tuned to a specific astral body. A tower's warp can only be used during the brief window when the tower is aligned with its corresponding astral body. In this case, Brittle Hollow. Okay. You must be standing on the warp platform on the floor during this alignment to be warped. If you look up while the station is rotating, you can see the alignment happens when the astral body is directly overhead. Okay. Assuming for the sake of argument that I should want to investigate more, this would launch me to space, but this may very well take me, come on, further into the station. 50% fuel remaining. Hold on. Okay. Where then do you need to be? Perhaps inside of here? And here we are in an observatory. Boy, that sounded very nasal. I like the little clinking sound of the... I like the little clinking sound of the glass. Okay. There's also a scroll here, it appears. What is it? No, it's not a scroll. It's just a light. Okay. So what am I meant to see with this observatory here? Or is this simply meant to increase the chances of alignment happening more quickly for the warp station? So this is how I would steer its alignment. I'm assuming if I move it over here, it then rotates in the opposite direction. Would I be correct in that assumption? I would indeed. Okay. Very good time. Like to see you progress. I don't know that I'm making a great amount of it, but at the same time, I am enjoying it. So the White Hole Station isn't remarkably difficult. Or it's not remarkably... What the heck? Something looked like it just fell down randomly. And this, we can now see that the warp will occur when these two things align, I assume. Is there anything I need to see before the warp occurs? Probably not, so then the warp will occur. And now I am here. But without oxygen, so I should hurry, and I have no idea. My ship is 383 meters? Really? The amount of jet... Wait, what is this? Charge. Step into the warp receiver platform to return warp. Okay. My ship was... We're going to... The sun is very clearly dying, so we're in trouble here in a minute any which way, but... My ship is not more than a few hundred meters away. Let's do some investigating. Oh, I wasn't meant to warp me. Okay. That was my fault. That's alright. My favorite NYC subway stop. So what is it? I've not seen one before. I'm guessing it's a white hole. A white hole, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So why am I quoting Red Dwarf now? If that's true, though, is there a blue dwarf? I'm just messing around. Because you want to have fun in the sunset sun, yeah? The music of this game is really nice, by the way. Okay. So we now know that I can warp between those two bodies. I believe we've been here before. This is the yeah, we've been here before. We know exactly where this is. And we now know that the White Hole Station is active and rotating, and because we have it rotating, I'm going to make the wager that we can... Oh, I hear the sounds of supernova. Yep, I hear the sounds of the supernova. We are soon to die. Which is ironic that I hear the sounds of supernova. If I will die, I will not die still. I will move. Alright, we discovered some stuff. Quoting Futurama before, namely Bender talking about binary code. Oh, and his catchphrase. It's like Pikmin, like music again. Retro Room, remember on a previous screen someone mentioned that whenever there's multiple floating things like that, you need to read each individually. Ah. Luckily, I should be able to get back. Should be able to get to it now, either through the White Hole Station or directly on Brittle Hollow. So let me do that then. I can go back to Brittle Hollow and read more. And provided that things are in the time loop as they were, for example, my having the activation codes. No, don't buckle up. Let's go over here. Do not go gentle into that blinding... Exactly. We've now been... And there's more to discover. View entry. There's more to explore. To use a tower, you must be standing on the warp platform. Right. But now... The Northern Glacier. I can mark this location, and I should be able to still use the warp, because I now have the White Hole Station rotating, so that it can align. Save for at the god's whims. He likes to move it. Nice. Alright. I have to be very careful. I don't think I've left the atmosphere. There we are. Back to Brittle Hollow, then. Sorry. As the crow flies again, so I had to disengage autopilot so as not to be immediately slingshotted by my own planet's atmosphere into the sun. Fine. Let's see if we can make this... right there. Okay. Not a bad landing. There we are. Make sure it wasn't a bad landing. No, not a bad landing. Okay, cool. So now... interesting. We have our broken area here, which we know. And our warp area here. But would only work if we had... if they are aligned with the Whitehole Station. Or do I have to go back and set the Whitehole Station in motion once more? Let me see. Ah, okay. So unlike the launch codes, it doesn't retain it. Gotcha. Fair play. Then let's look at... that's the iSignal locator. Nothing to do there just yet. Rybeck. Ash Twin Project. Sunless City. Whitehole Station. Fine, fine and fair. Put this back up. Kind of on a timer, so let's be as efficient about this as I can. .4 kilometers. I'm gonna try, I know that the easiest way to get there is to go on the other side of the black hole, but... launch codes are retained in your consciousness conveniently, so is your ship. Yeah, I was gonna say, the fact that my technology seems to have all of that, but isn't directly my memory. Nope. I guess the only way to do it would be to go into the black hole then. Is there a way? No, I don't know that there is. Alright, we're just going to go into the black hole as quickly as we can. Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting that all of my codes stay there. The memory makes sense, but the tech less so. Very careful. Okay. Okay. That makes much more sense. All right. I'm getting better at landing the ship, I think. Trees here, so oxygen. Oh, they're not gonna play by that rule this time, huh? They just hand wave it using... Okay, it's not actually breaking holes into the surface like I thought it was. Alright. I was trying to do it, but it wouldn't let me... Ooh! I was trying to not hurt myself, but it didn't let me do that, so... So hurt myself it is. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. No, I don't want this. I want... Ooh. Excuse me. Alright, what do we have here? Excuse me. Black hole forge controls. So we created this black hole? Or the Nomai did, rather? That doesn't count as a tree, I guess. Okay, let's read what these little things are. Maybe this will give me some insight into how to control things. These little symbols seem to match up with symbols that are here. Black Hole Forge District. Eye Shrine District. Meltwater District. School District. Well... the heck? So then that one is the Meltwater District. Takes... I'm assuming down, okay. And, well, no, wait a minute. Those are both the Meltwater District symbol. Let me take it. I just want to take a quick peek around what I can walk. My ship is out of reach at the moment. A hole for a scroll. There's a scroll. Okay, fine, fair. Are we filling up down here? No, it's just water. The Ash Twin project requires powerful, highly advanced warp core. A powerful, highly advanced warp core. How should we obtain it? Let's take that. So that scroll always says the same thing. I didn't know if putting it into a different wall would make it say something different. But that scroll always says the same thing. Okay, that's how the scrolls work. I like that they have trees where I'm most likely to need to... I mean, it's design, obviously, but I like the fact that they've decided to design it in such a way that I'm not pressed for oxygen. It'd be very nice to find a tank laying around out here, though, too. I'll check the wiki. We could retrieve the warp core from the vessel. The vessel's warp core is broken at best. Recall those present when the vessel crashed said it's sustained lethal injuries. There's no guaranteed reward for this risk. Perhaps we could still repair it. My grandmother told me there was little time to assess the nature or extent of the damage. This would require a return to Dark Bramble, Plume. My father says many good Nomai perished there. Yeah, I've been eaten by an angler there. My mentor, Coleus, and his old mentor once discovered and studied an anglerfish fossil on Ember Twin. Using that knowledge, we could avoid the anglerfish entirely. Okay, so it's giving me a way perhaps to avoid getting eaten. What Mallory and I learned from the fossil would theoretically help us evade anglerfish, but our hypothesis was never tested on a live specimen. Okay, so maybe they'll give me something that makes me invisible to them. I remember that anglerfish fossil, we used to play in the fossil fish cave when we were children, so I've already been there, and I know what the anglerfish do. I've both been eaten by an anglerfish on Dark Bramble and have found that fossil and scout, but I couldn't read the Nomai text with the scout, or it didn't let me. Or I wasn't doing it right. Maybe I wasn't doing something. I feel strange trying to recreate Anona's warp core without him. At times it still feels very strange to no longer be his very young apprentice, and for the black hole forge to be in my care, not his. Hypothesis: this will always feel strange. Even though my time with him was short, I miss my old mentor, and deeply. Poke. So he's died. Poke has died probably too, but at this point in Poke's life, Anona has also... Anona, yeah. To have the chance to try is... thrilling, but I don't think... I don't want to disappoint everyone. I think I can do this, probably. But what if excitement has clouded my assessment of my own abilities? Never let your ambition will always outstrip your abilities. Just make sure that your abilities also grow. Was I wrong in volunteering to build it? I was born in this star system and never saw Anona's warp core with my own 3 eyes. I only know what he taught me. What if I've bitten off a larger portion than I can consume? Or more than I can chew? Still, all I can give is my best, and as Anona would say, should my best prove insufficient, then we will find another way to achieve what's needed. I have Clarion Root in the Forge, and I have my clan. I am not alone. Fair play. This isn't a scroll, though, is it? No. There's Poke. I don't know if that's actually them or not, but... Okay. Let's continue our ascension to... Gravity's a little bit more intense as we are still closer to the black hole. Let's see. I need to find another scroll to fit into the scroll reading thing. There we are. Okay, we have another one of these gravlift switches, but no gravlift that I can see. So then, up it is. Yep, Mr. Copyright is correct. The ship log is also conscious and thus can retain its memory access in a lot of loops or something. Okay, fair enough. That's a little bit of a shame then, because I have crashed that ship a lot of times. A bit like the bank guy in Majora's Mask. Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure there's no O2 tanks, it's just trees if I remember right, and then all tanks are jet fuel, not O2. Yeah, I was looking to see if I could find some more jet fuel since I'm lower on that than I am on oxygen. So... I'm not particularly worried, I suppose. The jet fuel seems to last decently if the jumps are made well. You're not making them willy-nilly, but in some instances, I don't necessarily know if I'm making them quote-unquote willy-nilly, you know? Like right now, I don't know if it... I feel like I need to be able to use a jump, but I don't know to where. Because I think this is closed off. Yeah. Oh, okay, I see something. I don't know if I'm big enough to fit, am I? Welcome to the Meltwater District, I suppose. Okay, now that means I'm also very familiar with the fact... There we are. Has everyone observed the phantom moon that sometimes greets us in the night sky? Your thoughts interest me. I'm interested in your playful moon. Is it much like its violent friend, Hollow's Lantern? Yeah, the one that... Okay, so I've read this. Yeah, I've read all of this. Alright, so this is the Meltwater... The Meltwater District was where about I was, I suppose. Okay. You want to know what I think I honestly would attribute to being any even halfway decent pilot with these jetpacks and such? If you've never played it, I remember back when it came out in 1996, I played the heck out of Pilot Wings 64. I played the heck out of the classic Pilot Wings also, but I don't feel like that I don't feel like that it did the same. And so when 96 came and I got a copy of I picked up a copy of Pilot Wings 64. I think that's what probably has helped me a little bit with the jetpack. As wonky as I know that sounds, I feel like that's probably a very big part of it. Alright, so I think I can't find another scroll that's going to go in that. That means I kind of still want to investigate... Wait. Aha. Bye, everyone. I'll be back next time. Oh, it was great to have you. Thank you for see, I gotta go. I'm glad I caught some of the stream this time. I'll watch the rest on VOD or catch the tail end on the off chance you stream for another 4 hours. I don't think it'll be that long. I'll probably be done in a little bit, but it was great to have you. I very much appreciate the help, too. Thank you very much. I'm sure the ship actually enjoys being crashed and just views it as play. Well, good. But yeah, thank you for popping in, Copyright Infringement. I very much appreciate you popping in and helping me and helping elaborate on some of this. All right. We could craft new advanced warp core inspired by Vessel's warp core. I'd very much like to craft such a powerful core. More relevantly, I believe the Black Hole Forge crew and I could recreate the basic design. Abandoning the vessel's warp core and its casing means losing valuable knowledge. This is true, however, it's knowledge we have little hope of recovering. It would be best to relearn, I think. Okay. The greatest challenge here, I think, is we don't have the design for such a powerful core, or any of the original crafters of the vessel's core. No, but Poke was apprenticed to Anona, who created the original design, and our Black Hole Forge is adept at crafting simpler cores. I believe I can be of use here. The vessel's warp core was created before my time, but Anona explained many of his designs to me, so we know this is where Poke... This is the safest path for our clan. This is from Idea. Avon says, is this the safest... Or safest path is the safest path the best one. Our goal is worth the risk. Cassava says, is it though? We've tried for so long to find something that I and others now believe might be impossible to find. If the search for the eye is a futile one, we should choose the option with the least potential for harm. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So then in this case... Black Hole Forge controls. Let me go back down there really quickly just to see. Yeah. So we've done something to the black hole. We've sent something that was in it now not into it. Interesting. There's glass here that prevents me from doing anything. Okay. I wonder if there's a way up to where that lift was, and then from that lift if I can... Try that again. Running very low on fuel, so it is just going to be whatever I can find of it. Okay, let me ascend again. I'm wondering if maybe there's something to be done with this lift that I've sent. If this lift controls... I don't think I can reach it from here, though. No, it's gotta be, there's gotta be something else I can do. It's not, this isn't right, so I need to keep ascending. I need to go into ultra focus mode, should be on my way as well. Have a good weekend, Retro Room, and folks, thanks for the stream. Oh, thank you, Thumb, for coming in, and yeah, good luck with the ultra focus mode. I hope that whatever it is you're focusing and concentrating on bears fruit. Interesting. Let's go back to the surface then, and see if something has happened as a result of that lift. Let me try to keep my eye on the general area of where about the lift was found. It's through this... through this, right? And it dropped me into the forge. Or, no, it didn't drop me into the forge. It dropped into the forge, or it came out from what was dropped into the forge. Fuel level critical. That's okay. That's not the largest problem we have right now. At least I don't think it is. The sun is critical currently. There we are. There was a fuel tank, I think, waiting outside of one of these doors. No, I don't need to... Okay. Using oxygen as propellant. Not a great propellant. I can't even seem to make a bloody... Okay. One of these buildings did have additional jet fuel on the outside near a staircase. I don't know which one. I don't remember exactly which one it was. This one, maybe? Yeah! There we are. No more need for that. And even though I'm going to die to a soup... Where's my ship? Vitals critical. That's alright, it's alright. We're fine. We're gonna die anyway. Might as well go out with a bang. This started out with me trying to figure out how to get back to the Whitehall Station, but now it's ended up with me trying to figure out what the heck all this stuff is. Have I killed myself? Yeah, I killed myself. That's alright, it's alright. Very, very cool. I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. We found out a lot of stuff. I think I'm going to call it here. We found out a lot of stuff, and I really, really liked it. Finding stuff is my favorite part of this. We found out a lot of stuff in this. We found out where Whitehall Station was. We were able to get Whitehall Station to work. We know there's a warp between it and the Brittle Hollow. We know now that there's a black hole forge, and in the center of the black hole forge, there are things that we can control. So I think the next time I try to land the ship, I'm going to try to land inside of Brittle Hollow, in kind of where the black hole forge is, and switch some stuff in there. And I think I also want to go ahead and try again to go back to Dark Bramble and see if I can kind of discover what it is that helps prevent us from getting consumed by those anglers. I think that's really a big piece. There we are. Which that I would like to do. So I'm really, really enjoying this. This is really a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. For now, I'm going to go ahead and switch us back over to some music and this. Maybe something about like that. There we go. Is that better? Can I hear myself? Kind of. Hold on. There we go. Well, I can kind of hear myself, but it's not good. That's a little bit better. Okay, that's better. There we go. All right. I'm going to say a huge thank you to everybody for showing up. There's a lot of people that showed up this time. I don't normally have huge groups of people that show up. This is a pretty good sized group, at least for me. I really, really enjoyed getting to talk to everybody. Thumbros, Vidi, Ash, Fighting Max, Daiwi, and Copyright Infringement, and Miss Maggie, and Bogus. A lot of people kind of just showed up to say hi and see what I was doing, and I really, really appreciate it. That was really cool to have to get to talk about everything that we got to talk about, and then get to play this game and discover. I feel like to me, it kind of was the slow burn at the very beginning when I was starting this game. I enjoyed it, but it's kind of a slow burn. It was like, it felt like I wasn't making a great amount of progress very quickly. I was, obviously I was very clunky with the ship. I still am very clunky with the ship. Let's be very clear about that. But I really, really, I didn't feel like I was making a lot of progress. I just kind of enjoy the experience of being in the world and flying and floating and wandering and the physics and, all of the things that whoever developed this, whatever team developed this, whatever people developed this, have done a great job in trying to just realize the physics of the way that this would work without actually having been to space themselves. It's really cool to see a black hole or white hole where you can kind of see space-time folding in on itself, like we have said would happen if you were to actually witness one. I think it's really, really nice. And then now we're starting to kind of stumble, and I'm starting to kind of learn some of the names of these Nomai, and I'm starting to kind of I'm kind of getting to hear their story, and I'm kind of getting to know who they were, who Poke is, who he's, or what he's trying to be, the shoes he's trying to fill, and this forge, this project. I'm kind of getting to know a little bit more about who they are and what they're doing, and I think it's really, really nice. So, very, very cool way to tell a story. There's no sense of direction whatsoever. And that's another thing I think is its biggest strength, in my personal opinion, is its biggest strength and also biggest weakness. I think that somebody who doesn't necessarily, I think that a lot of people like the idea of going from point A to point B to point C. And I think that when you start getting bigger and bigger and bigger in scope, for example, something like The Witcher or something like maybe Skyrim. Skyrim's kind of on the low end of that. Witcher's kind of on the upper end of that. Cyberpunk's on the upper end of that. Kingdom Come Deliverance is kind of in the middle, I think. Baldur's Gate's kind of on the upper end of that, right? Baldur's Gate 3 specifically. I think a lot of people, this is kind of falling, in my opinion, this would kind of define the very utmost, the ultimate, if not, maybe, if it's not the ultimate, then it's certainly in that area, right? Maybe penultimate of freedom. Because I don't have any real major sense of direction, except for when I find a scroll and I can say, well, if I look in that general direction, I might find... There's nothing really pointed. And in a lot of cases, we're talking about the vessel. I don't know where the vessel is. I don't know where the vessel is. I have hints as to where it could be. I've got 3 or 4 different things I can check out. So it's your direction is kind of a derivative of your progress and the way that you do and how well you're doing. Which I think is a really kind of cool reward system. Is, it's not instant gratification. It's like, well, now I want to know what the vessel is. Where's the vessel? Or it kind of just hints, oh, well, there's more to know about this escape pod you looked at. Oh, shoot, I didn't read everything. It's really, really cool. Very, very cool system. It's good vibes. I appreciate that. I enjoy it. I'm having fun playing the game, and then on top of that, I love getting to talk with everybody. And again, when we do it, we usually talk philosophy or current events and such. It's really, really nice. So it wasn't brain rot. We had some good discussion. Well, I'm not huge on instant gratification. We've talked about this before. I very much believe in the utility of being bored. I believe in the utility of having nothing to do but let your mind wander, and deciding maybe to fill that with even what you might consider to be a fairly mundane or even otherwise boring hobby or activity, such as reading a book, which I don't find boring, but I enjoy. But other people don't. Or writing down in a journal. I write a ton. I have a journal in front of me. I have other journals in my top shelf of my drawer here. I've got 4 different journals. All of them, several of them are full, but I get to look back and I see where I was at that point in time. So I very much am a fan of the utility of boredom. But that having been said, this game kind of doesn't. I mean, there are moments where you're just kind of floating around, just doing nothing, and it's like, cool. This is a good time for me to gather my thoughts. Very, very cool. Philosophically speaking, how can we hear ourselves? It depends. It depends on how you define hear. If you're talking about audibly, then that's not philosophy. And if you're talking about in terms of activity, you're talking about something you still have to define here, but you would be talking about perhaps are you talking about validating? Are we talking about acting upon a validation? Are we talking about acting despite validation? What are we talking about? It's a good question. There were lots of 0s and 1s in this chat as well. Wait, that's binary code. That's true though. This is many people's favorite game. It's a good game. I don't know if it'll be my favorite game. It could be. It could become my favorite game. I don't know. One of the things about being and we were kind of talking about this a little bit. We talk about Metroid Prime 4, current events. Yeah, one of the things about being a favorite game is there are a couple of different things. Firstly, number one, I started gaming decades ago, and so in the time that I have from the very beginning of my gaming, I'm not going to say career because I don't make any money doing it. I just enjoy doing it. The very beginnings of my gaming experiences, all the way to now, I have played tens of thousands of games, and we own about 11,000. I say tens of thousands. That's not probably appropriate. I've played over 10,000 games. I can say that much. We own, I think we own like 11,041 or some ridiculous. It's a ridiculous number. I don't know what it is. I've lost track. We have a catalog somewhere. I'll do it. Anyway, I've played a lot of games. It's very, very difficult to find favorite games and all of that. And in a lot of cases, you find your favorite game is oftentimes something placed up there because it hits you at a critical moment, right? You met that game at a critical moment. For me, that was what KOTOR was. Even though I played games for decades prior, KOTOR was one that kind of hit me at a crucial point in life, and was one of those things where it's like, and so when you kind of have played thousands of games, it's moving up that thing. But I do think this is going to have a very special place in my hierarchy of games. It doesn't need to be your favorite game, etc., but when it comes to indie game successes and remarkable games, it's ranks high. I would argue that this is probably one of the most, if not the most innovative indie games I've ever played. I would absolutely, if you wanted at the top of a list, innovation in an indie game, yes, I would argue this is very high ranking. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Max Durat and I think Rasputin talks about this game quite a bit. Philosophy themes too. I mean, there's probably a lot of philosophy in this. I mean, we've talked about the science of the quantum superposition, and we've talked about there's also a philosophical state of the quantum superposition. While it's scientifically observable, or at least it's a way that we can. There's something that we have to do scientifically. There are things that we have that are only defined by what we know they can't be. Right. Philosophy kind of works that way too. Because you're asking a question of why, and why is almost always a nebulous concept until you really bring it close. So I think it's a really interesting game to tackle from a philosophical perspective. I really do. But overall, I am very much enjoying this game. I very much enjoy it. It is Something that I would argue at this point, it is to the point where I would say if you've not played this game and you have access to this game, you should play it. It is I'm having a ton of fun with it. I don't feel like it's holding my hand. I have people that are helping guide me, like Daiwi and Copyright, which I think are great, but the guidance on that doesn't feel... I mean, the game's not holding my hand, they're not holding my hand. It's just, I don't know, it's really, really nice. It's a really good balance, I think. So very, very nice. Very, very much enjoying it. The missile knows where it is because the missile knows where it isn't. Well, it's kind of what we were talking about with the quantum shard, right? Which was, we know the quantum shard is where it is when you see it, but when you don't look at it, you don't know where it is. And the reason that is because the only thing you can know is where it can't be. But your limited field of view is all that you know that it cannot be. So it can be behind you. It could also be anywhere else. It's kind of like when you close your eyes. When you close your eyes, anything can be anywhere unless you have something disproving or proving that it is where you know it to be. And I think that's a really that's really a cool concept. That's, again, we're oversimplifying very, very much. We're oversimplifying. But I think it's a really, really, really cool concept. I really do. So. I know where I am because I know where I'm not. See, it's kind of like that, yeah. So we got to have a lot of good conversations about things. Again, I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to. I know I belabor this point, but it's because it's very, very important to me. I hope it will be important to you. I also really like this game's take on black holes. I think it's really cool that they're using them kind of as a warp point in a lot of regards. Obviously, in real life, you would be stretched and pulled and stretched and pulled and stretched, kind of like a taffy puller almost, because of the way that the gravity is, and you would also have issues with the way that space-time operates around those areas, which we don't even have a full understanding of how that works. We understand basics, I believe, but I don't think we understand a ridiculous ton of how that works. But I mean, you would be absolutely nothing but strands of your former self, quite literally. So I think that's really, I think it's very, very interesting. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. What I was going to say was, I'm going to go ahead and push on this again, and I know I've pushed on this a ton, and I'm not trying to belabor anything, but it's very, very important to me, and I want it to be important to everyone else also. If I can't make it important to you by demonstrating, if I can't make it important to you by demonstrating the things that will happen or that may potentially happen, maybe I can do it by just appealing to what you do get when you do it. And that recommendation is please, when purchasing media of any kind, your video games, your music, your books, your videos, your movies, your television shows, please consider purchasing them on DRM-free platforms that are not afraid to allow you to own your game, to have your game, to play your game without having to be online. Please do not hesitate to not necessarily disavow, but to start making moves in that direction, I suppose, in the direction of ownership, in the direction of having the things that you pay for. There was a video that was sent to me. I want to say, Ash, you sent it to me, and I very much appreciate it because I completely agree with this. There was a video sent to me. It was on YouTube. It's about, 13 to 15 minutes long, right? Not ridiculously long, but it was basically, the title of it was, I may get this wrong, but the title of it is, we're losing ownership of games and no one cares. I think, is that it? I think that was it. Let me go back and look. I want to find it real quick because I want this to be this is a very important point. me go back and look. Very, very, very important to me, though. Also, speaking of which, and is current, what do you think of the Steam machine, or is the same opinion? You have a Steam and DRM, etc. Yeah, so as far as the Steam machine goes, there's some. Apparently, there's a potential that you're going to be able to use other platforms, not just Steam, but you're going to be able to use GOG and other platforms on there. If that's true, it's a Linux-based system, so I mean, obviously Linux is open source. You can kind of do what you want to with it. If that's true, and you're able to use other open source stuff on it, I'm perfectly okay with that. I think the Steam machine has said that we're going to be competitively priced. I think Linus from Linus Tech Tips. Good Lord, you can't say that quickly, or I can't at least. I think Linus Tech Tips got their hands on it, and he said that it was going to be competitively priced with a PC. So my recommendation is if that's going to be competitively priced with a PC, just buy a PC. Buy the PC you want, put the operating system you want on it, and play GOG. That's it. But if the Steam machine is actually going to be a more accessible PC for people who are already console orientated, and you are going to be able to use your GOG account and your other accounts where you purchase your games, yeah, I would be heavily in favor of getting one. Remember, when you buy games on Xbox, when you buy games on PlayStation, when you buy games on Xbox, when you buy games on PlayStation, you are buying a copy that, in most cases, if the game is not on the disc, you don't have it. You don't get to play that game. That game can be shut down. And that's started a long time ago with games like Mag. But we still have that now, and it's worse than it's ever been. The video it's by the guy Biz, B-I-S. We don't own games anymore, and nobody seems to care. And I watched the whole thing through. It's not a long video. It's a decently long video by most people's standards. It's about 15 minutes, a little under 15 minutes. And I watched it, and his solution was the same as mine. Use Bandcamp, use GOG, use places and platforms where you have it. If you're a console owner and your only console, the only options you have are console, you don't have the money to buy something else, my recommendation is go to a website called Does It Play. Before you purchase your games, please do purchase them on the disc, firstly. And secondly, go to doesitplay.com and take a look at the disc that you're purchasing. It will tell you if the game is on the disc and if you have to arbitrarily download something. It'll also tell you that. And if you see the answers on those being no, you don't have to be connected to the internet, and yes, the game is on the disc, buy that. Buy that. Because that means they can't just shut you down, right? I'm so excited for a good VR headset. Very nice. I honestly like the Vive. Was it the Vive? No, what is it? What do we have? We have an Oculus of some sort. We've had the Vive, but I don't think that was it. It was the one of the Oculus. It was good. It was really good. I played Vader Immortal on it, and I really like that game. So I hope the Stop Killing Games movement finds success. I hope so too. But the reason I'm saying I want the Stop Killing Games movement to find success, I think that I completely agree that I think we need to make sure that there are legal ramifications to them not affording people ownership. There's no reason that you should not own what you purchase, right? I understand that when it comes to real estate, renting, and so there are all kinds of differences, but at the end of the day, if I buy my house versus rent my house, I should own the house that I bought. I don't have any expectations of owning the house that I rent, right? So the same situation, if they want to go back to where it's a rental, then it needs to be explicitly stated, explicitly stated, you're renting this. I mean, on the thing, when you make the quote-unquote purchase, you're renting this. And if not, when you buy it, you should have ownership of it. But what I'm saying is, in the interim, while Stop Killing Games continues to find momentum and continues to try and move forward, I think one of the greatest statements that we can have to helping that type of momentum speed up is to go out and make sure that we are only purchasing things that we can own on platforms that allow us ownership. I've multiple times said that GOG is my favorite, and GOG has been my favorite we're getting close to 20 years now. They launched in like 07, 08, something like that, so we're getting close to 17, 18 years at this point. And you own your game. When you buy a game, you own your game. So my recommendation is go. If you're going to buy your games, go buy your games on GOG. If you're going to buy a book that is not a physical copy of a book, buy it on a place that allows you to download that copy and not have to have it connected or verified to the internet, like Amazon. One of the good examples of that, Witcher, was able to take the original covers for The Witcher, and if you bought it on your thing, they were able to actually update it and change the covers to be the ad for the Netflix series. They were also able to censor books that they thought had stuff that was too dicey for their standards inside of people's Kindle devices the minute they connected to the internet. There's no reason for this. This is the light equivalent of digital book banning and book burnings, and we don't need to worry or we don't need to tolerate this. So my recommendation, buy your music from platforms that are DRM free. I think Bandcamp is DRM free. I'd recommend buying music from there. Buy your videos on DVD, on Blu-ray, whatever on DVD, HD, whatever it is that you feel comfortable getting it on, that you get a physical copy. Your games on DRM free platforms, on discs that you have the whole game on the disc, or on GOG. I think those are the only options right now. But own your stuff. Own your stuff. Show people that you're not interested in continuing to buy on platforms. I mean, I get it sometimes, but show people that show game developers you're not interested in buying your games on platforms where you're not allowed to own it, so that you and two console cycles don't lose the access to the games you've had. And this is something we're seeing already happening with people that owned vast PS3 galleries. Now that we're on the PS5. The PS4 is almost entirely backwards compatible, but the PS3, there's a whole lot to be desired, left to be desired on the game selection that you can play on the PS5. You have to have a PS3 and you have to have the game in order to do that. So the backwards compatibility part is going to go away. So if you want to own it digitally throughout the ages, purchase it on something like GOG. If you don't want to own it digitally throughout the ages, keep your machine, make sure your disc is on hand and has the game on it. So I know I go over this point every single time, but it's very, very important to me. I can't even begin to state how important it is that you own what you buy. It's very, very important to me. So, but I hope that you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your weekend, a wonderful start to your week. I think, I'm not positive, I think I will be live next weekend. And then I believe that week will be Thanksgiving. I will not very likely be live the weekend after. So I will probably be live next weekend. I'm not going to guarantee that. There could be some changes. But I think I'm going to be live next weekend. And then the weekend following, I will be taking a break for the holiday. I hope you all have some great stuff planned. Have fun. But yeah, I really appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so very much. And we'll see you next time.